Hello, everybody, and welcome to Virtue Gaming's Twitch channel, where we have a great series for you tonight. Virtue Gaming Ambition going up against Imagine Mountain. This is going to be a Runeterra Academy Senior Week 2 game. My name is Charles Elroy. With me is Moose, and we are going to get into the draft here for you right now.
Yeah, so hey, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for the introduction, Charles. Before we get any further, Charles, how you doing today?
I've had a good day, new patch, new TFT, new champion coming out tomorrow. What more could you ask for in the middle of a week?
I don't know, buffs to Talia. That's really the only thing that I'm caring about right now is I know it's coming. I know Talia's going to be back to OP sometime soon. She'll be back in the meta. It's just not 12.4. Give it another 2 or 3 patches and then I'll be back to climbing the solo ladder once again with my main. Going to be phenomenal though. Going to be a great day, and as always, if you guys have not already, if you guys do not know already, the spectator client is once again down for the second time in a week. Pretty much, Charles. It's been
Yep.
a bit of a bumpy ride for the amateur circuits for the last 7-8 days or so.
Does make it a little bit more difficult to cast a game when you cannot watch the game, but we've found a little bit of a workaround. We're going to be streaming the games just one game delayed behind, so we appreciate you guys tuning in to bear with us through this learning curve as we go through it. But we are going to get into the draft, discuss that. We'll talk a little bit about the patch, and then once that first game is over, we'll get right into the show. Um,
Right.
Looking at Imagine Mountain, they've got blue side, we've got Virtue Gaming on red. And they went with Zuri B1, even though she did get a little bit, as we were discussing earlier, a little bit of an adjustment. Every single one of her abilities was nerfed this patch, in case you didn't know that.
I don't know what you're talking about, Charles. There was no nerfs to Zeri. It was just a mid-game adjustment. She got buffed in the mid-game. She was just a little too strong in the first 10 minutes of play. But you know what? That's manageable. You can manage early game Zeri. Come on. Don't be
Yeah,
ridiculous.
absolutely. You can. I mean, now she's just a hyperscale like Chinks or something like that. You're just gonna have to wait till the late game and see her blossom like a beautiful little rose.
No, like
Um,
I was reading the patch notes, right? And I was seeing a lot of there were a couple of, base changes that were coming through,
mhm.
but it felt like there were, several champions that got a little bit more power in the mid game. So Zaya, mid game power thanks to the increased critical damage on her E. Lucian has a 10% or 10 reduced mana on his Q when it's maxed out. So I mean, like, it feels like they're trying to focus more towards some of these mid game champions, giving them the opportunity to maybe, flourish a little bit. But with that being said, we get another one of those champions that did get adjusted in the patch, and that's Nami with
Mhm.
the increased damage to her E.
Well, we're gonna see how that works out coming out of the side of Imagine Dragons. They've all Imagine Dragons. Imagine. I've got Arcane on the mind. Imagine Mountain.
There you
Um,
go.
One thing I like though is that we do get to see the Gwen is still getting picked. She's still strong. We still see the Karma Caitlyn strong
Right.
poke bot lane. So there's still those steady rocks, those pillars that we get in these games that aren't going to go anywhere. And I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Just to lay it out, we've got Zuri, Ziggs, Nami, Ornn, and Gragas going into Caitlyn, Karma, Gwen, Syndra, and Olaf. Um, just looking at some of the matchups here, are there any that are pointing out to you that are clearly in favor of one team or another, or that or you're really going to want to keep your eye on as we go through this game?
Always the jungle for me. Jungle
Mm-hmm.
is the major focal point, especially in master level queues. I've been doing a lot of solo casts, right? Uh and most of them are anywhere between like master level, grandmaster, challenger level queues. No champion
Sure.
queues shoutcast because they don't have the function for that at the moment. But what I've noticed, and this is Runeterra Academy senior year, jungle is so important to get off the ball rolling really, really well. If your jungler gets far behind, that causes problems for the entirety of your team in terms of being able to have presence in the jungle, power in the jungle, potentially go for ganks or to contest against them. So We don't normally like I don't know about you, but I haven't seen Gragas in the jungle for a minute. Like I usually see him in the top lane, and then very rarely do I see him in the support or potentially the jungle role. He's gonna have to, contest with an Olaf who is one of the best early game junglers out there to be able to potentially have that momentum going into, say, the 10-15 minute mark. So with that being said, you're looking at Caitlyn Karma, you're looking at Olaf. I expect that Virtue Gaming Academy will use the early game power of the Karma and the Olaf to be able to get early dragons and to push forward on that side of the rift. If they don't, I think Zeri gets too strong. I think that being able to get the support of the Nami as well with the extra movement speed, which is something that Zeri absolutely loves, is going to be pretty big. So I'm really looking to see how well Captor and the rest of Virtue Gaming Ambition are going to be able to do, especially in the jungle and the bot lane.
No, and to follow up off your point, you don't get to see Gragas that often. And when you do, like you said, he's normally top and sometimes occasionally support. So I'm very interested to see how they decide to utilize him in the jungle role. He's got great gank potential, especially if you go with that sort of tanky Gragas build. You can get a nice little additional frontliner there who's still able
Predator.
to put. Yep, it just runs right at you, scares you to death. Whenever you hear Predator pop in the game, it just scares me. I don't care who it's on. It could be Predator Yumi. I hear that noise and I just like decide to run under turret. Like I'll just wait, let
Yep.
everything just settle down on the map and go back out there.
Mhm.
But no, I do think you're right. There is a lot of early game pressure coming out from the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition here. Olaf, I love Olaf in the jungle. He's such a strong jungler, like you said, especially early game. But especially with the amount of CC that you have coming out from this team between Gragas or Nami, having that ultimate available to him to be able to really get in there and contest some of those neutral objectives, or to try and make a play onto the back line if he gets caught up or something. I really like that pick coming out of Virtue Gaming. So I do want to see how they execute on that. When it comes to the mid lane, looking at Syndra Ziggs, we haven't really talked about them at all.
Yeah.
Where do you think the strengths lie there? Obviously we're a little biased on this channel, but who you rooting for? Or who do you see coming out ahead of the laning phase there?
I don't know. Bombs beat balls, I think is the
That's a
way
good
that
one. I like it.
is the way that I'd want to say it. I think that Ziggs just has the ability to stay safe against the Syndra is
Sure.
pretty important. And I mean, but this was a pick that Ambition chose. Like Ziggs was, it was Zeri, and then Virtue Gaming Academy or Ambition decided to go with Virtue Gaming Academy. Virtue Gaming Ambition decided to go with the Caitlyn Karma to secure the bot lane, and then the Ziggs Nami gets chosen. So you're well aware moving into R4 that you're going up against a Ziggs. So this was a deliberate pick from Virtue Gaming Ambition. I have full faith that they should be able to be fine with, in early bouncing bomb pressure that the Ziggs is able to provide. It's
Mhm.
just all about making sure that you don't give kills over to a Ziggs, because once you do, like, he can be really a powerful, potent force. But because you are playing a Syndra who does need a little bit of time to get going, there's going to be roaming potential for Imagine Mountains, especially down towards the bottom lane,
Oh yeah.
which I'm really talking about, man. Like the bot lane and the dragon scaling can be so big in this game, and the fact that you have a mid lane champion that can be impactful on both sides of the rift, doesn't even have to commit to a full gank, can just drop the Mega Inferno bomb and still be able to either displace the enemy team or at the best case scenario get that
Wrap up
huge
some kills.
damage. Yeah, able to get that huge damage in is definitely going to be very impactful. But like that's the job of Imagine Mountains, is you need Zeri and Ziggs to have some really strong early game. They need to be able to pop off. The longer that the game goes on, the more powerful Virtue Gaming Ambition becomes. Gwen, Syndra, they're just going to outscale you. Like, they just are. I don't care that you have ornaments. Like, they're just going to be too powerful. The damage that Gwen can bring along with the invulnerability of the Hollowed Mist is going to be really, really big. So I'm excited to see how they're able to get through the early game, because that's where Imagine Mountains really shines in this composition.
And it looks like that's kind of what they banked on if you look at the draft, right? Like you've got Ornn. Ornn doesn't want help, doesn't need help. He's just going to set in lane, build his items, try and survive the poke, try and stop Gwen from getting to that Leech and Lyran Riftmaker for as long as possible. As you said, after she hits that, she becomes very potent in lane and in the team fights and can start chasing people down with the
Right.
need work and everything else. So I imagine we're going to see Gragas, as you said, just kind of focusing on that bot side, trying to set back and push forward his team.
Now,
So,
now, now, real quick, I
mhm,
just thought about it. This is definitely gonna be a Nami Smite top lane, right? Like, this is what's happening here for
but
Imagine Mountains.
we're misreading this whole thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It's going to be what Orange support and Nami's going top with Smite.
No, no, no.
It's
Here's the play. Here's the play. Nami top with Smite, right?
okay.
Okay, easy,
I'm with
easy,
you.
easy. Um, Unbound Spellbook, Ornn being able to use a teleport and the smite, or being able to use smite and then teleporting into lanes to be able to get the extra mobility.
Okay.
Super powerful Gragas support to be able to give Zeri some frontline protection. Um, and then Ziggs is just Ziggs, but it's definitely Nami top. We can kind of segue into that. The smite top meta has been
Just nerfed into the ground and just cut off.
murdered in the alleyway, unfortunately. I don't think we're seeing it anytime soon.
It was such a fun ride while it lasted. Like that was a good what 2-3 weeks that we got to see Janna top Smite.
We'll get
And
one more
other
week. We'll get one more week.
is it one more week before it's absolutely murdered? Then it goes
Uh,
away.
no, I'm talking like in competitive play because they're going to be a little bit
Oh
behind.
yes,
So
very
we
true.
will still get to see it. I think for
The,
one more week,
the
one last
LCS will provide
hurrah.
us one last glimpse
Yeah.
into the meta that was.
Hmm.
And it was a fun ride though. Like
Yeah.
let's not lie, it was an interesting. I like it when things like this happen in the game where you get these small little meta bubbles of things that shouldn't be a thing realistically, right? But somebody
Yep.
found a way to make it work, utilize it properly, punish it, and then Riot has to be like, "What were you thinking? Let me patch this out. Let me, figure out a way to solve this realistically in the long run." It pushes the meta, it makes things happen, and it really kind of helps develop these things. I enjoy it.
Oh, definitely. And I appreciate the pun as well. Meta bubbles, Aqua Prison from Nami. Appreciate it.
I got you.
I get you. You know it. You know what's up. You know what's going on. But yeah, it was really fun to see. I'm a little sad that we didn't get to see more of it because it was an interesting idea. It was a very, uh, I wish I would have thought about it. I wish that,
Mhm.
I was the one that said, "Hey, this is something that works," but I'm not that smart, Charles. I'm not.
I'm
Uh,
not that adventurous. I'm tried and
uh,
true. I don't want to be the guy that gets yelled at going Janice might top the first time.
right.
I got a very delicate ego. I will cry if somebody flames me in game. So
Delicate ego. Delicate ego. I have a
that's me.
friend that will spam Kaisa top lane and just do it. Why not? And you know what? Sometimes he wins.
If it
Sometimes he gets
works,
absolutely annihilated though.
I mean that's the risk of being a trendsetter.
I know.
Not all
Right?
trends catch on.
And speaking of trends, or at least speaking of like, top lane, because that I feel was the main focal point of this patch. There were a ton of changes to top lane champions and to top lane builds. Most importantly, Dr. Mundo getting nerfed is pretty substantial. Rumble getting an armor buff. We're probably going to see him back again in top lane. Maybe
Hmm.
we get to see him again in the jungle. I don't know. His clear speed is again fairly weak. But Rumble got buffed. Alawi got buffed. There was a small buff to Aatrox. So
Aatrox, yeah.
there's definitely some changes I think in the meta coming into the top lane for sure.
Yeah, and I think that goes along with what you just said, right? We have those Enchantress support, Smites going top lane. You've had, there was a while there where Victor, like top lane is where you get to see the most experimentation because top lane is often left on an island, right? Um, you don't see a whole lot of intervention there. Occasionally you get a little bit of a gank. But even when Rift Herald or something like that comes up early and one lane's dominating, they'll rotate their bot lane up there, push the top lane down to the other side.
Right.
So top lane really is where you get the most freedom to try and do those kind of things. So I think it's always going to be the lane with the most fluctuating metas going on, where you get to have these kind of experimentation going on with the smite top, or there was a time where we got to see the mage tops where like Rise and Victor were popular there for a while. You have the tank meta that's always going to be there. You have bruisers that come and go.
Right.
You just have so much that happens in the top lane because it's the most isolated, and I don't want to say the least impactful, because I know top lane is important, but if your top laner absolutely just bites it, you can still have enough roles throughout the rest of the map to carry you. So I think that as top lane continues to have this kind of stuff happen, that we're always going to see that's where the adventure stuff's going to happen. That's where we're going to get to see the fun new metas come out. That's where we're going to get to see the exciting new builds come out. And we'll get to see where stuff catches on from there.
That is a bold statement. That is a bold statement to say if you fall behind in the top lane, it's fine. Oh my goodness.
I'm just saying, like, arguably speaking, right? If you've got two tanks, like if you've got let's say you've got an Ornn and I don't want to now
a Gwen.
Yeah. Let's say you've got an Ornn and a Gwen, right? If Ornn absolutely just gets shut down, like not necessarily dies a lot, but just can't farm, can't CS, a little bit behind on experience, doesn't necessarily feed over gold, but just super far behind, he'll still be tanky. He'll still offer CC in the team fights. He'll still offer his ornaments, as you mentioned earlier. He'll still have things that he can offer. And likewise, if Ornn gets nice and big, and denies Gwen CS and things like that, eventually she'll hit her mythic item. He's just a tank. He's not going to always be putting out that much damage. He'll just be hard to kill. But if you kill all the others in the team fight, you can take him down. So like, there's just so much. There's only so much top laners. Again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to look stupid, but it's okay. There's only so much top laners offer throughout the map. That being said, if something were to happen to Ziggs or Zuri, Caitlyn or Syndra, that's just in my opinion a lot more impactful throughout gameplay across the entire game, right? Like if you have a Syndra that just gets denied, can't keep up in CS, that Ziggs is just going to continue to snowball, continue to shut down Syndra, continue to stop her from being relevant in the game, and she won't be able to have an impact. Likewise, if Caitlyn isn't able to get CS, if she's constantly pushed under wave, she's being denied gold, denied experience, and can't get relevant in the game, that Zuri is able to snowball. A snowballed Ornn doesn't sound that scary to me. So it's I just think that's where you have the most freedom to experiment based off of the whole map. If I'm wrong in the chat, let me know. I'd love to hear your opinions, your thoughts. But that's just where I stand on it, where I think you have the most freedom, the most wiggle room across the map is the top lane.
What's your main lane?
So I've played everything, but I jungle.
You jungle? Okay.
Yes.
All right. I wanted to put that out there for the chat if they wanted to, judge you then. I'd love it if you roasted top lane and said, "Yeah, I'm actually a top laner. I am the least impactful member of my team, and this is what I do."
I have played top lane for what it's worth. And I understood. I was on an island. I may never see jungler come to my lane. I may never leave. I might just always split. I might not even be in a team fight unless there's a dragon fight that I need to teleport to. Besides that, I need to stay as far away from everybody else, put pressure on the opposite side of the map, draw one or two people to me, and just So I mean, I've played top lane before. And I was okay with being number 5 on the stack ranking out of us, and I get where I lied, but yeah, I think I think it's where you, like I said, you have the most freedom. Because if you look at mid lane and bot lane, obviously you want something tried and true there because they're going to be the carry, they're going to be the DPS, they're going to be the one putting out everything.
Right.
Junglers, you can experiment a little bit in the jungle, like we saw when Rumble was popular, and Morgana was rolling through there. Even got to see Nautilus for a while. I know they tried to do Zed in the jungle for a minute and things of that nature.
Oh, it's still gonna happen. It's still happening.
They're
It's
trying
still
it.
happening. Hey,
I
but
thankfully don't get to see a lot of Zed. Go ahead.
real quick, Charles. I don't mean to cut you off, but we do have the replay file ready.
Woo.
We do have the game ready to go. Thank God. The conversation, the early segment of the morning show of the Moose and Charles morning show is now complete. We can actually now get into some action. So real quick, 10 seconds or less, predictions for game 1. Who's gonna win?
Based off everything that I'm seeing so far, I want to say Virtue Gaming is going to get that first W in the series. How about you?
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? Virtue Gaming Ambition, they got it. They're going to make it happen. They're the next Academy team for sure. But with that being said, real quick, guys, we're going to take a quick break so that we can get into the spectator client and we can actually see the game. Bear with us. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Game 1, Virtue Gaming Ambition versus Imagine Mountains. Ruterra Academy Senior Year coming up. We'll be right back.
Join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of the world that we defy. A soul array of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we bring to fall the giants?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the game. We are live. Well, not live. We're a little delayed with Virtue Gaming Ambition versus Imagine Mountain Runeterra Academy Senior Week 2 game. I'm Charles Elroy. With me is Moose, and we are getting ready to get this game started.
Hey, and you know what, real quick, guys, just want to thank you guys all for your patience. I know you guys are well aware of the issues that are going on with the spectator client and all of that fun stuff. So if we see things that need to get adjusted, or if you feel like something is a little bit off, please let us know, and we'll go ahead and we'll make sure that we get those taken care of, because that is going to be the main thing here. Is we want to be able to watch these replays and give you guys that great content. So Charles, 5-man death ball, not gonna happen bot lane, but they do get to pick up that early brush control, which is good. You know, you want to be able to get whatever small advantage you can, especially in the bottom lane, which I was really hyping up in the draft, saying how impactful it's going to be.
And here they are. Everybody's stacked up in the bot lane, obviously where they want to get that gold, get that pressure. We've got a lone Gwen on the top side, just kind of doing her thing. Here they go. They're making a move for it. Skallen going to get caught out here. He's able to blast away a little bit. Doesn't connect with the axe. There it is from Captor. He has to flash. That's one summoner spell blown. And I do want to point out that's Zuri in the mid lane and Ziggs in the bot lane in the ADC.
Hey, you know what? Some of those shenanigans that I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we were this close
true
to seeing Nami in the top.
Right. Hey, but you know what? The really big part about this one, though, is Capture does potentially try to get out of this, is that you deny a couple of things, right? You deny red buff from Crazed Juggernaut on the Gragas. You make Ashelon as the Ziggs use Satchel first, which is going to disrupt his clearing in the early game.
Sure.
And on top of that, you get his flash as well, so definitely pretty happy about that. But as it looks to be the case, it looks like some vertical jungling coming online here. The Gragas being able to pick up potentially red buff before he has to go back.
And it looks like Captor very aware of what's going on, trying to catch him over there, not able to get the buff.
Right.
And that's going to set the Gragas behind quite a bit. Definitely looking good for Virtue as they get that buff taken away from the bot side. He immediately just diagonals across the map, knowing exactly what's going on, stops the Gragas from taking it there. He's going to be feeling very good about where his game's at so far.
Yeah, and that's going to be, and again, like I was talking about, that is the big thing. When you come into these games and you see that your jungler gets a little bit behind, it means that your laning phases are going to be a little bit rough. But speaking of laning phases, Campania fan as a Syndra is not having a good time. I think that this was a great adaptation from Imagine Mountains, because the Syndra needs some time to scale up, and Zeri does not. Zeri's still going to be powerful in the early game, and you can already see she is just getting completely electrified here in this mid lane so far.
She is. She finds herself well below half health. She's a little bit behind in CS. Thankfully, she did take biscuits, so she's got a little bit of sustain offered to her throughout this phase. But she's certainly just going to be in a rough patch here. She already has to back. Zuri is just going to continue to push in and give herself a nice wave or two lead here at about not even 4 minutes into the game. So that's a rough start for Syndra, absolutely.
And you know, and that's the big part about it, is like, yes, you know that Zeri is, unless you have interference from Capture and the Olaf in the mid lane to try to go in for these plays, it's going to be a rough early game for the Syndra and for Campania fan. Like, it's going to be a little bit more work before the Syndra comes online, and she's building for that. As almost Dinosaur Falls, but she is building for that. She went back, she was able to walk back, she didn't lose a lot of CS out of the play, but she was able to get the corrupting potion as well as her Tear of the Goddess, so she's definitely happy about that. Yone's in trouble though.
Yeah, we've got some damage coming down, and that's going to be first blood going over to Ziggs. Looks like Lokidosi just barely going to get away there, but nice little gank coming out from Grags there to get first blood over on the side of Imagine Mountain.
The phase check cometh before the full, Charles, and you can't do that. Even though you're an early game juggernaut in the support role like Karma, you can't win in the 3v2, and it ends up being a kill there for the spot lane, but another kill potential. Lokidosi in trouble.
Yeah, Lokidosi getting caught out there. Quite a bit of damage coming down. They are going to try and follow it up a little bit, but not enough. And now we've got Captor running down, just rushing through this tri-push. Going to kind of cut him off there.
Trying to do something.
And it looks like he's just going to hover. They're very aware that he is there.
Yeah. Good warning, good control of Imagine Mountains. That's what you want to see. Vision, vision, vision. It's like location and housing. You want to be able to have it at all times, and it's got to be there, Charles. So that is super big, I think, for them. Number 2, Ginger, though, maybe a little bit too spooky here. Going to get hit by the knockup.
Knockup comes through. Dinosaur getting pretty low, but he's going to follow it up himself. Some autos coming from the minions. Just going to barely, I wish I could look at her health bar. It has got to be less than 50 health or so at this point.
Yeah, 43?
43. Just barely getting away from there to stay alive. So congratulations to number 2 Ginger for making it out of that. But yeah, just a terrifying little engage there.
Terrifying for sure. That is pretty scary to say the least. But despite that, though, like, there are still advantages that the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition have at the moment. You've got a massively ahead Olaf Capture, 41 CS to 24 because of the early invade and the clear that he was able to get, which was expected. So, you know, you have the expected advantage for Monkey and the Zeri, the expected advantage for Capture and the Olaf, and now potentially a gank coming through.
Yeah, Scout of the Week lands. Monkey has to flash just to get out of there. Gonna pop her ult to buy some time. Too little, too late. She'll fall. Captor gets the kill. They're going in on Crazed Juggernaut. Flash for flash. He's taken low. Auto not gonna do it. The axe goes and it will not connect. That is just gonna be one kill going over to the side of Virtue Gaming.
Yeah, and big there for the Zeri, but Call the Forge God gets used. Get knocked up.
Beautiful job. Beautiful return there. Dinosaur manages to make the roam down. He now finds himself in a 2v1 Champagne fan. Jonas going to go ahead and root him up, and it's not going to matter. He is just going to go ahead and say, I'm an Ornn. What are you going to do about it, and walk away?
Hey, I want to say I predicted the Unbound Spellbook too from this Ornn. Shout out to it. I love to see it. It's one of my favorite keystones to do on the Ornn because you get so much impact from the versatility that the Spellbook provides, because you have so many different options for some of your spells that can be effective for you. Teleport, super effective. Smite can be effective. Ghost can be effective in order to get into a good position. And so being able to get down there uses the Unbound Spellbook to drop the Ignite onto Capture, picks up the kill, and makes it a 1-for-1.
And it was a beautiful play, a lot of back and forth, and it was really, you know, Virtue Gaming just overcommitted there. They didn't like take turret shots or anything like that, and I understand that the Crazed Juggernaut was very, very low, but just a little bit too much there, and they end up having to trade over a kill. It ends up evening things back out for the whole fight and still leaving the side of Imagine Mountain up in kills. Now they are down in gold a little bit though, because the CSing from this Olaf, the CSing from Gwen, you know, everybody's got a small lead across the board, as we can see here. Gwen is down a little bit because she missed that kill, but everybody else has a little bit of a gold lead up against their opponent, besides that Ziggs, who also, it's just the kill.
Yeah, Ashlon being able to get that first blood, that is just the kill advantage, being able to come through, and so, I mean, this is very good, but they got to worry about potentially this Dragonsteel.
Ooh, very good smite coming out of Captor there. Finally upgrade his item. He's going to fall, pops his ultimate, too little, too late, and the kill will go over to the side of Imagine Mountain. Now, Monkey very low here in this mid lane. Gwen and Syndra in the area. It looks like they're going to go ahead and back off, and we'll see what happens next. But yeah, we got first Drake over to the side of Virtue. They are, you know, down in kills, up in Drakes, down in gold. It's a back and forth game so far. I love what we're watching.
Oh, for sure. Ghost getting used by number 2 Ginger, though.
Going ahead and going in here, Conquer proc. They've got the damage coming down. She is just going to follow up on this and take it all the way, and that's going to be a solo bolo up in the top lane, as it will be number 2 Ginger taking down Dinosaur.
Yeah, extra 300 gold in her pocket. I don't think she has enough gold for the Leeching Leer, but, you know, does pick up a favorable back.
There it is.
Yeah,
She,
does
she had
have
enough for the
really
Lear
favorable.
and boots.
Hey, nicely done. That's what you'd like to see. So close to getting that Rift Breaker. But the more important part about that is that you deny tempo for the side of Imagine Mountains when they try to go for potential Rift Herald fight, because Dinosaur does not have teleport up yet, so he did miss a little bit of CS. He's not even looking to go towards top lane. He is roaming to the mid lane. They are trying to go for a play there to potentially be able to get Company Fan out of position. Tidal Wave getting used.
Alt gets taken in from Nami. A lot of damage coming through from Company Fan. The alt comes in from Greg Snocker to back in the fight, and that's going to be Nami, unfortunately, getting that kill for Imagine Mountain. And now you've got Captor here just stopping that wave and going to go ahead and back off. Nami, not where you want the gold. She's 2-0 now. Is this going to be a Nami carry game that we get to see?
Every game is a Nami carry, Charles. The tidal waves are so big. She's able to rack up so many assists, and we get to see the power of the E coming through, being able to use that extra little bit of an advantage, especially for Monkey here in the mid lane. These roams are going to be pretty impactful, so that Zeri just continues to be able to drop the damage onto Compania Fan. But that was such a beautiful play, and Virtue Gaming Ambition getting punished for their lack of vision in the river. Like, that was a setup play. They had everyone there, but there was no control of either side of the river for Virtue Gaming Ambition, and Imagine Mountains, pardon me. Imagine Mountains just take a pretty easy kill off the Syndra.
Yeah, like you said, it was a beautiful setup. Alt layered over alt, pushed it right into them. And they didn't have the vision. They didn't have the setup. They didn't have the knowledge they needed. Meanwhile, we got a fight coming on here. Company Fan going to find themselves with another gray screen. Nice little dodge out of number 2 Ginger there from the Ornn alt. But yeah, it was a beautiful setup from Imagine Mountain. And it really is, it's a testament to the fact of how important vision is. If you can't track where that enemy jungler is, if you can't track if you're going to be flanked or not, you're open to it. You have to assume that it's just going to happen, or otherwise you're going to get taken advantage of, and that's what we got to see there.
And, you know, I mean, once again, like, Compania Fan has 2 control wards in their inventory, has the extra, you know, vision totem as well. So, you know, she should have, or Compania Fan, like, they should have at least vision of the river. And now, potentially a risky play here at Rift Herald. I don't know if they can actually do this. Number 2 Ginger is extremely low, but they're going to continue to commit to it.
Flash comes through. They look like they're trying to engage here. Ooh,
wow.
That is going to be crazy. Juggernaut gets taken off the map during the fight. Captor still working on the Rift Herald. Scout of the Week hits Monkey and Stebby. It doesn't really do too much there. Stebby taken relatively low. Captor is going to lock up the Rift Herald, and the fight is going to die off with just crazed Juggernaut being taken out and the Rift Herald going over the side of Virtue Gaming.
Beautiful collapse there from number 2 Ginger and Capture to be able to just lay down the law and drop the damage in. That could have gone so poorly had Juggernaut been able to land the body slam. Oh my god, that's so
There's
much damage.
another kill.
On
Monkey
Fan.
able to get that kill on Company Fan. That's her 3rd death of the game. Meanwhile, Dive going down on the top side here from Virtue Gaming. They're not able to do it. They trade over a kill onto Captor there. So that ends up being a 0-for-2 in 2-0 in favor of Imagine Mountain. And Ashlon on the top side uses his teleport, tries to follow that up and get another kill. Pushes number 2 Ginger out of the lane.
Yeah, I mean, ill-advised dive from Capture number 2 Ginger.
Very ill-advised, yes.
There was no reason to be so aggressive against an Ornn who, you know, has resistances and has the ability to be able to survive in these sustained fights. He didn't even need to use his flash, but considering that turret plating was falling fairly soon, like, you should have just dropped the Rift Herald, and then once the Rift Herald was dropped, then maybe go for a play after that. But you just give up so much control of the Rift. You deny your early dragon scaling. You give another kill over to Dinosaur, who's now 2-1-7, pretty much on not even footing, but fairly close footing with this Gwen. And you lose out on the guaranteed 320 gold that you would have gotten from going for the Rift Herald headbutt. So, really questionable play, I think, coming from Virtue Gaming Ambition, and it sets them back pretty dearly here as we move into the mid game.
Yeah, I mean, they're behind about 500 gold or so, and as you were saying, like, that Rift Herald would have done just that and put them right back into it. And it also wouldn't have traded overkill. So that would have been about, like a 800 gold swing in their favor instead. So, like you said, a questionable play for sure. That's okay. It's not insurmountable. We're 15 minutes in and they're less than 1,000 gold behind. They can still absolutely come back from this. Infernal does end up going over to the side of Imagine Mountain, and we're going to get to see a Mountain Soul. How do you feel about the Mountain Soul? And how do you think it would, which team do you think would benefit the most from having this soul?
Oh, Virtual Gaming Ambition cannot give this Mountain Soul over. Like, it would be such a terrible time if you give those extra resistances over to Dinosaur and Crazy Juggernaut. Like, you're just not going to be able to get through the front line at that point. And besides the Ragnarok, like, number 2 Ginger has to go through the front line in order to get to Ashelon and Monkey on the back line, in order for him to be able to get to those carries. And that's going to just lead to so much disruption that this Gwen is not going to be able to solve. And if you don't take care of that, like, it's going to be a really big problem. So, Virtual Gaming Ambition needs to make sure that they don't allow Soul to go over to Imagine Mountains. You've got 3 minutes until the next Drake spawns. I mean, you're still in even gold. And remember, like, your win condition here for Virtual Gaming Ambition, the longer that the game goes on, the more powerful that you become, the more impactful that you get, as we get a nice scout of the week.
Ragnarok popping, that's going to be Cinder locking up the kill on Stebby. Monkey will fall as well. That's 2-for-0 trade in favor of Virtual Gaming. Crazy Juggernaut going to get chased down, and that is a 3-for-0 in favor, spreading the wealth across the team, as even Karma's going to get one off of that nice collapse, and Virtual Gaming finds themselves right back in the game.
Redemption for Chapanya fan. This Syndra 0-3-2, Charles. Like, that is not a great position to be in. You're feeling pretty rough there. You're going to start not putting in the same amount of impact. You're not going to be worth the same amount of gold, but you still have power to be able to find Scatter the Weak and get that major stun. And you just found him right in that choke point, and you're able to lay down the law once you do. Like, there's no reason why you wouldn't go for that play. And Virtual Gaming Ambition are rewarded for their efforts. They get back into a favorable swing into their favor. They're able to get multiple of turrets down. Top turret goes down. You get the headbutt charge on the mid lane tower. That's now really low. And Lokidosi, who has been pretty much absent for a majority of the early mid game, is going to be able to have a 200 gold just farming down.
Here we go. Predator's been popped. Going in on number 2 Ginger. Crazy Juggernaut's in the area. Teleport comes through. They committed all 5 members of their team to lock down number 2 Ginger. They're going to leave Lokidosi in the bot lane by themselves to just get more gold, more CS, solo experience to get just bigger than ever. And, I don't know that it was the right play to commit that many people topside, especially when you already had 2. She was low. I think it was a given that it was going to happen. So,
it was definitely something that could have maybe only been 2 or 3 members. I mean, Ashelon and Monkey were already on their way. Like, Ashelon was already there. Hold that thought.
Oh, here comes the engage. Jonas just gets absolutely deleted by Dinosaur. That health bar just demolished there. Obviously, Ashelon doing a little bit of the damage. He just gets the kill. But here comes this mid lane tournament, and boom, all of the outer turrets have now been opened up to the side of Imagine Mountain, as they are going to have a lot more pressure coming in to their lanes.
Now, imagine, now, teleport gets used for number 2 Ginger to be able to get into this fight. And, just imagine had that fight happened a little earlier, though, but the team fight now beginning.
Here we go. Number 2 Ginger gets the knockup. Ragnarok used on the jungle there. Captive goes ahead and use it. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Ginger for Crow's Juggernaut. You've got back and forth. Man, Zuri is just taking over this fight. Lokidosi taking low, has to get out of there. All going to be used. Debbie tries to heal, gives herself a little heal. It's too little, too late, and she will fall as the minions, I think, did a little extra help there for her. Monkey going to try and stay alive here. The tether comes through, not able to connect, burning some damage. Ashelon in the area trying to follow up. Champagne fan Jonas both dancing around as Lokidosi is able to get the reset back off. It ends up being a 3-for-2 trade in favor of Virtue Gaming there. But man, that was a mess of a fight.
Very messy fight for sure. And that is why you cannot let Zeri stay alone. It is so important to be able to lock down a Zeri, and it's so difficult to. Like, that's why that Scout of the Week from Chapanya fan earlier was so impactful, is that it landed onto Zeri, because once Zeri gets slowed, gets CC'd, she's much less of a threat. She's so squishy. She has so very little resistances. If the dragon fight now happens, who's
Grace
gonna get
Juggernaut
it?
goes over, too little, too late, not able to get it. He'll hop back, nothing gained, nothing lost there.
Yeah.
It is going to be starting to stack over on the side of Virtue Gaming.
Yeah, and I said it before, like, you have to make sure that you don't give these resistances over to Crazed Juggernaut and a Dinosaur. So it's really big that they were able to pick that one up, and definitely not going to be anytime soon being able to get to that soul point. Like, it's gonna be at the very earliest a 30-minute Mountain Soul for Virtue Gaming Ambition if they do decide to pick it up. But the big part of that fight was that Zeri was not able to get locked down, so Monkey was able to just have a field day there in that little corridor between the turret and the river. So really nicely done. Campania
Beautiful
fan
job,
is
Champagne.
obliterated.
Yeah, burst out of there. Great job from Axelon just bursting her out from underneath the turret. They get that damage down, too little, too late. They go ahead and take this outer turret, and yeah, they're starting to pick up a little steam here. Like I said, it's been back and forth. We're seeing fights go one way, pressure coming out from the other side. Drakes are going back and forth. You know, these teams are really making this a very interesting game so far.
I'm not worried about Virtue Gaming Ambition though. Like, this is a 22-minute game and they're in the lead gold-wise. Like, this is when you start to feel the impact of your Syndra and your Gwen. And besides that, like, you know, your Caitlyn is still 1-0-2, still has a lot of power, still has a lot of control, and is going to be continually being that menace. Monkey, however, Monkey's gonna have to play, you know, really exceptionally well, find those good trades, and stay safe in these team fights in order to be as impactful as she has been, or as Monkey has been throughout the early game. The longer that this game goes on, the more powerful that Gwen is now becoming. Like, she's hit that 2-item power spike with that Gnasher's Tooth and the Rift Maker, so she's definitely going to be running the show, especially in the top lane. You're gonna have to send either Echelon or Monkey to be able to contest her, and that's gonna mean that for the time being, Virtue Gaming Ambition have control of the Rift. They have the ability to potentially make something happen here, and they've got to be able to just stay composed, stay controlled. If they're able to pick up this next dragon in 2.5 minutes, they should be feeling good.
And you're pointing out that she got that second item. Also, you've got Loki Dosi completed their second item, feeling light years above where the Zuri's at. You've got the Ziggs, who just completed his second item. So before, for that fight, he was not setting on it. So it really does feel like the side of Virtue Gaming, as you said. 23 minutes of the game, we're strongly into the mid game. They've had time to scale up, ramp up a little bit, and they're starting to feel ever more confident in their roles here. I do want to point out, Zuri did have to go with the Hex Drinker just to provide herself with a little bit of that AP resistance. That feels kind of rough considering she really wants to get into her build quicker so that she can come online. So that doesn't feel great for her. And also you've got Olaf going over with the Executioner's Calling, having to respect the amount of healing that Nami's pumping out, that you've got to commit a component to that early on. So both these teams having to make sacrifices in their builds to try and combat the other team.
Neones could probably be okay there, but it looks like there is going to be a collapse in the mid lane, potentially. Juggernaut maybe looking to go for it. Predator getting used.
It's a 4v3 right now. You've got Cinder joining in from the jungle. Meanwhile, number 2 Ginger and Dinosaur are just going to go ahead and go back and forth down here in the bot lane. But we could see Imagine Mountain looking to make a collapse here. Gwen backs out. Captor going in on the Monkey. Maybe trying to make something happen. This Zuri just dancing around and shooting her shots. That's what she does.
Shooting her shots, being that electrifying presence that we want to see for sure. But, you know, going back to Zeri and going back to, you know, that play, 40 seconds remaining until the dragon spawns, we're going to hold that thought. Talk about Hex Drinker. I've got my opinions on Hex Drinker, Charles, but I want to focus on the dragon right now because this is a very crucial dragon for Virtue Gaming Ambition. It's a dragon that they need to get in order to potentially play for that Dragon Soul win condition, and so they can go for a play here at Baron. Number 2 Ginger is a little bit out of position, gonna have to play carefully, but they push up the wave bot side. They're gonna have the teleport coming through from Campania Fan, and now potentially a collapse coming in. A very crucial team fight. They've got the waves pushed forward. They've got river control. They should be pretty happy about their position.
Yeah, they feel good about it, but you don't have Loxidosi in this fight yet, so it is still a 5v4. She just now arrives, and she's looking to go ahead and start at the Drake. Meanwhile, number 2 Ginger getting chased down. Dinosaur, Scout of the Week doesn't quite connect there. That's the ult, only connects to Jonas. There comes the tidal wave, gonna come through. Olaf manages to pop Ragnarok, no effect here. You've got a weird kind of pinch going on here. Virtue Gaming, they are able to take down Ziggs. That's going to be Virtue Gaming locking up 3 members now. Monkey getting taken relatively low. Number 2 Ginger following up, and that's going to be number 4. Dinosaur, the only one left, and that's going to be Mountain Soul Point going over the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition. I love the dance. They can't see it, but I can.
Oh my god, Japania Fan for Challengers Q. Oh my god, what a ballsy play. The Scatter the Weak lands on 3, and had the Syndra not gone for that, that fight was going over the way of Imagine Mountain.
100%.
So huge.
They were healthy. They were healthy. They were in a good position. They were not poked out from the dragon. They were not poked out from the fighting. I definitely thought that was going the way of Imagine Mountain before that Scatter the Weak came through.
It was so big, and I think that on the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition, they realized that something was wrong, because they had number 2 Ginger being not collapsed on, but being targeted by most of the members, right? Like, she was over in the bot lane, she was kind of pushed forward, and so Ambition says, okay, let's start the dragon. And Imagine Mountains, they called their bluff. They had the ward in the dragon pit. They knew that they were starting it, so they said, okay, 5v4, let's collapse. You've got, the tidal wave coming used, but it misses everybody. Like, it completely gets whiffed. Loxidosi is the only member that gets hit by the explosive cask, but she uses her net to be able to make sure that the trajectory that she goes actually gets her away from the squad. And just the great flash initiation. The Scatter of the Week was so big from Champagne Fan, able to pick up massive damage, just obliterate. I think Monkey just gets obliterated there. It was that Monkey or Ashelon, but regardless, neither
Ashelon got blown up so quickly first, and then I think it just started to fall like a domino, one after the other.
Regardless of that, really great play. I love to see it. Nicely done from Virtue Gaming Ambition. Now they've got Baron buff. They got Soul Point coming through. Let's see if they're able to finish the job.
They're feeling large and in charge. They've got Baron. They're putting the pressure on this mid lane. They're putting the pressure on the bot side. You've got all 5 members up from Imagine Mountain now. They're looking to try and answer 4-1 respectively, but that push is still coming strong here in the mid lane. And Drake, 2.5 minutes, they can definitely put this Baron to use, get themselves ready for when that pops up here in a bit.
Exactly. We got another minute 15, so that's 2.5-ish waves. You got one another wave coming through. Dinosaur really can't compete with Gwen right now. He's just getting annoyed right now. Oh my goodness.
She is barely alive. That's the ult. Goes golden just in time. It's not gonna matter. That'll be shut down, going over to Craze Juggernaut. But Dinosaur definitely realizing that he cannot go toe-to-toe with this Gwen. She was just going to take him under turret if it hadn't been for the rest of his team showing up to give him some backup there.
And you feel a little bit bad about that, because once you lose the Gwen, like, your split pushing power is going to be pretty rough. So the Baron just kind of, the last little bit of the Baron kind of gets denied there. You make the choice, you make the call, then, hey, let's just reset. You were able to get the inner towers down in the mid lane and in the bot lane. Not the most impactful Baron. Like, you wanted to see an inhibitor turret get cracked, or at the very least an inhibitor, but the 4-1 got sniffed out. Dinosaur was able to get enough damage on number 2 Ginger that they were able to collapse onto him and be able to pick up the kill, which was pretty big. Like I said, it stops the Baron push. Thought of it for a little while longer to be able to push in this last little wave, but really nicely defended from Imagine Mountains.
Yeah, they won't get any more objectives off of it as Baron falls off here. But I do think that fight between Dinosaur and number 2 Ginger there did kind of show Dinosaur that, hey, you might be tanky against, Captor, you might be tanky against Loxidosi But when it comes to stepping toe-to-toe with the Gwen, there's no respect given. She will just cut you through. So even though she falls there, I think it's sort of a mental win for this Gwen to be able to say, like, I can turret dive you and kill you. I'm not afraid of you. You should be scared right now. And here goes another fight. Number 2 Ginger getting engaged on by Dinosaur. Olaf goes unstoppable with the Ragnarok, and that's going to be falling. The Ornn falls there. Crazed Juggernaut falls. Number 2 Ginger will give the kill over to this Zuri. Now you've got Captor looking to try and get out of there as he's taken relatively low. The heal will be used by Lokidosi to keep him alive. It's a 4v3, but the 3 are very healthy. Chapani Fan getting chased down. Deb kind of in the middle here. And Ashlon, ooh, that's a crit. Jonas taking some damage as well. These 3 are dancing around. And we're going to see the fight kind of back off here. Maybe, maybe not. This Drake is now up and alive. It's a 4v3, but these 4 members are not very healthy. They can't step up and fight this realistically. They're just going to get out-poked and out-damaged here. Chapani Fan a little out of position. The exhaust comes down. Monkey trying to keep the engage up, but gets taken low as well. Jonas, very, very low. Teleport coming through for Ornn. Gragas on the way. They're going to find themselves outnumbered and out-health, and this could be the first Mountain Soul going over to the side of Imagine Mountain.
Yeah, you see Dinosaur also try to go for the Dragon. Number 2 Ginger teleporting in, though.
Yep, they go ahead and take the blast gun over. You've got the fight going, and they want to try and take it now. Unstoppable pop, but that will be Olaf falling. Nami falls as well. Chapani Fan getting chased down. Crazed Juggernaut going to very likely lock up this kill. That goes over to him. And double kill for Ashlon. The flash comes through, and that's going to be another kill going over. You've just got Loxidosi barely standing, trying to follow up. Gets the kill. Okay. Kill shots. Gotta love them.
Very good.
She does lock down that kill. At least trades one more over. It still ends up being a 4-for-3. They get the Drake. And we've still got ourselves a game on our hands. 5,000 gold advantage over to Virtue. But Drake almost tied up. They're going to find themselves just one Drake behind. And they're about 5,000 gold behind right now. But it doesn't feel like that considering how some of these fights are going.
That fight, though, was a little bit, like, that was a little sus from Virtue Gaming Ambition, right? Like, they stayed in the thick of it for a little too while long, and there were ways that they could have potentially combated against that. Companion Fan had teleport, but when she was at around, a 3rd HP, they could have backed up, then used teleport to reinitiate into the fight to be able to maybe pick up that stopwatch that now she has in her kit. So, like, had Companion Fan teleported and then come back, then maybe that's a fight that they can pick off. But unfortunately, you were talking about that throughout the entire fight. Lokidosi, Capture, and Yones were just so low, and you don't actually have any healing over onto the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition. You've got the extra movement speed from the Shirelias, but no ability to really regenerate health. And so the nice choke points getting denied there from Ashelon, being able to use the minefields is pretty good. And the unbound spellbook, Dinosaur being able to use that smite, pretty much playing like a jungler there, able to pick up another nice kill onto the dragon, denying Soul getting used. So I understand the fight. It just could have been executed a little bit better.
Yeah, it was a rough fight from the start for the side of Virtue. The health bars were too low. They were out of position. The teleport came through. They decided to follow up on it. I think it was a mess. It didn't go their way. They're able to reset. They're still in gold lead. Baron, the next neutral objective that they're looking to make a move on here. And we're going to see the next fight's very likely going to happen here soon as Dinosaur clears out some vision. And you've got all 10 members on this map, all within a couple 100 feet of each other, just trying to make something happen.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the opportunity. It's now or never here on the side of Imagine Mountains, because you've got both of these side lanes getting pushed in. So they initiate the fight. They have to go for the Baron now. Otherwise, it's going to be all hands on deck for Virtue Gaming Ambition. So they decide to go in for the play. Let's see if they're able to make it happen.
They look to turn it around. Ornn going to go ahead and go for the engage.
Oh.
He missed that, right? Like, I'm not blind. He missed
that. That is a massive whiff.
That whiff.
Huge.
Pity. So yeah, they start up the Baron. They try and bait out a fight. They get the bait, and Ornn's engage just completely yeah, completely whiffed and thrown off there. And now they're looking to maybe try and make a move here on Captor. Not able to connect with the Orin, who's looks like he's drunk on this Rift. He's just not really getting much anything going here.
Oh man, drunk on the Rift. That's so mean.
Well, I mean, he doesn't connect with the knockup. He doesn't connect with the ultimate.
Yeah. No,
he's
I mean,
just a couple missed skill shots at it.
I don't disagree with you. Like, you saw it immediately. Like, Imagine Mountains, they missed the Ornhorn. Like, you can't stay in the fight, and you still have to deal with the waves clearing out on both sides. So they know that Ornn had to go back. So they assume that they've got teleport. You deny the Baron play. There was a slight window that maybe they try to go for it, but Capture's now looking to go in. Yone in trouble.
Taking some absolute damage. Ashlon going to walk up the kill. Kratos Judgment goes golden. Olaf gets burst down. It's a 2-pro trade in favor of Imagine Mountain. That is not who you want to lose right before the Drake and Baron are going to spawn. And Ornn all up again, does connect to Lokidosi. Flash comes through. That's going to be Champagne Fan barely getting out of there. Lokidosi gets exhausted, going to get taken off the map. And Champagne Fan is going to try and back here. Number 2 Ginger just going to go ahead and get out of the way. And they're basically going to go ahead and take down this mid turret and get the Drake here, put themselves on soul point as well. So we're going to have a dragon fight here in a couple minutes that's going to be really important for both teams.
Yeah, misplay from Virtue Gaming Ambition. A really good pickup from Crazed Juggernaut to be able to find Yones alone, like out of position there.
Walked right past the Olaf to get to her too. Like they crossed each other, and he was like, "Bye-bye," and headed right for the Karma.
The Capture wanted to like try to go in against Ashelon, and Monkey tried to be able to get to that backline, but unfortunately he had no follow-up, and he also doesn't really have the massive healing that you would expect him to get because he doesn't go for the Gore Drinker. He instead goes for the Stride Breaker, which, well, I think is a viable option. You pick Spear Visage second item so that you get that extra healing so that you can have that massive play.
Champagne Fan out of position.
What
just
is
gets
happening?
demolished there. Yona's going to go ahead and get chased down. The Ornalt comes through. Number 2 Ginger will stop herself from getting the CC, but she's taking quite a bit of damage. They're trying to get the follow-up. Knockup comes through. Exhaust goes down. Olaf on break, unstoppable. Trying to follow up. And this is going to be another team fight going in the way of Imagine Mountain as they take everybody but this Caitlyn down. Caitlyn's going to go ahead and try and kill this Ashelon here. We'll get that kill, but is going to lose Baron in the process. Rough fight.
Yeah, there's really nothing that Virtue Gaming Ambition can do at this point. Like, they have to give up the dragon, and this was a game that they were in the lead on. This was a game that they had in control. They got to the late game scaling of the Gwen and of the Syndra. You have 4 items on number 2 Ginger with the Rabadon's Death Cap, with the Rift Maker, with just the power that a 4-item Gwen can bring to the table. These are not fights that you should be losing, but you keep on getting caught out. Like, Champagne Fan was just way out of position there, trying to potentially go in for some warding, and not really even going in for some warding. She was just so far ahead for what seemed to be no reason. She's got the Scryer's Bloom, or not the Scryer's Bloom, but the Farside Alteration, so she can just stay in the back line and drop that vision. She doesn't need to be so far ahead. And she gets caught out. The rest of the team says, hey, well, we have to initiate. So then Capture goes in, but he has no follow-up. He gets taken out. Yones gets hit by the Tidal Wave and is slowed to oblivion thanks to Imperial Mandate. So you just kind of miss the opportunity that you had. And now, like, this is like a 50-50 game. This game could go either way. With Baron still online, Champagne Fan's gonna get dove on once again, getting knocked up.
Mega Inferno Bomb comes through, the flash goes out. She goes golden with just a little bit of health. I think it's not going to be enough. The Minefield will take her out. And now you've got a power play in favor of Imagine Mountain here with this Drake 2 minutes away, so that's not going to be a factor. But it is going to matter here as they have Baron and they're looking to make a push.
Another minute and a half, and now with this power play coming through with the Baron online, the gold lead has returned to the side of Imagine Mountains by about, 2K or so. So all of that advantage that you had, the bounties that you had on the table are now gone. You're going to be able to defend one of these lanes, but not the second one. And now, like, inhibitors are going to probably be the target. As Logidosi gets hit into the explosive cast, we'll be able to go back. But with Dragon spawning in a minute 42, you're thankful that Campani Fan will be able to come back, but you are definitely losing an inhibitor, if not two.
Oh yeah, I think they're definitely on the way to losing two. The Baron buff's still strong. They've got all 5 members here. This is not where you want to be if you're on the side of Virtue Gaming. The Engage coming through, looking to make a move. Folksy Dokesy getting low. Scout of the Week doesn't really connect with anybody as she pops up. They lose Karma there. It's a 1-for-1 trade. You are going to lose Crazy Juggernaut. The ult comes through. Nice little meat shield from Stebby there as the ult comes through from Caitlyn. Number 2 Ginger looking to connect over. Missouri putting out a lot of damage. Not scared at all to be stuck on the other side of that. Dang! Ziggs just demolishing that Glim there. Teleport coming through. You've got Ornn in the fight now. They're looking to make a push for end here, as it is going to be 3 members down for the side of Virtue Gaming. The other 2 low, having to go back to the fountain. Baron buff still up, and you've got a tank, AP, and AD. That's all you need to make this push. They're looking to make a play here.
And they're gonna...
Yeah, they're going to hit it. Captor trying to put some damage down. The Nexus is exposed. You've got Captor trying to do what he can. That Nexus is going to get taken down, and that's going to be game 1. Going over to Imagine Mountain as they push for the first win of the series.
Yeah, great comeback. Great composure from Imagine Mountains. Like, that's the way that I got to say it here. But, like, let's call it for what it is. Virtue Gaming Ambition, they threw that game. Like, that was a game that they had in their hands. They were feeling good. They got that first Baron. They were at Soul Point, but then they just get caught out of position just 3 too many times in important fights, and it costs them game 1. And it was really sad to see. Like, it really was. Like, I thought Virtue Gaming Ambition had that one. I thought that we were going to a game 2 with the great advantages that the late game power of Virtue Gaming Ambition had with a win, but instead they get caught out, they get picked off, and they get blown up, and their Nexus falls. Game 1 is secured for Imagine Mountains.
Yeah, like you said, it was definitely Virtue Gaming's game to do with as they pleased, and they end up giving it away. They had a 5,000 gold advantage sitting there in the mid game, and just as they continued these team fights that just were not in their favor, they would either get caught out of position, Champagne Fan in the jungle. They would get engaged on at the wrong time. That Ornn ult coming through in the mid lane there and connecting through with, again, Champagne Fan. That fight over by Drake where you had the side of Virtue Gaming that was all just so very low, and they just danced around and still decided to engage there. Just not the best decision making in some of these team fights. Had they taken the reset, given up the Drake, and gone back out to try and get the fight and stopped giving over as much gold there, they might have had more of a fighting chance. Had Champagne Fan just gotten blown up and maybe the rest of the team says, okay, we just need to back out, maybe try and steal, push on the bot side, just try and think about how to out macro them if you're going to lose some of those fights, but they don't, and it ends up costing them the game. So as you said, Imagine Mountain puts themselves 1-0 in the series. We're going to do game 2 here shortly. So stay tuned on Virtue Gaming's Twitch channel as we get into game 2 of Runeterra Academy Senior Week. 2 games between Virtue Gaming Ambition and Imagine Mountain. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Virtue Gaming Twitch's channel as we get into Virtue Gaming Ambition versus Imagine Mountain in this Rentier Academy Senior Week 2 game. I am Charles Elroy. With me is Moose. If you just missed the first game, back and forth banger ends up being a win for Imagine Mountain, and we are going to start discussing the draft for Game 2. Moose, how are we liking what we see so far?
Well, I'm liking Renata Glask being shown as the bands. That is because, as if you guys are aware, if you guys are longtime Virtue Gaming Ambition fans, you do realize that we are not seeing the normal support role. Did end up having to use one of their emergency subs in order to make it happen. So they do lose a ban out of that, and Renata is, of course, not available yet. So obviously, an easy choice there, and just being able to get things out of the way. But looking at the draft, Virtue Gaming Ambition going blue side first. Pretty much the same bans: the Anivia, the Annie getting denied, the Gwen getting denied away from number 2 Ginger here in game 2 with the Jinx and the Kindred. I'm curious to see now what Virtue Gaming Academy is going to do to clean up the late game, because like we were talking about that in the break, it was such a collapse, like
Yeah.
at the 33 minute mark there for Virtue Gaming Ambition, for what was a solid 33 minutes that just resulted in a couple of bad plays. Like, so I don't think that their early game or their mid game was the problem. It was just being able to close it out that ended up costing them the match. They do make a couple of concessions though by going blue side. They do decide, hey, we still want to be able to get rid of the play or the some of the pool that Monkey brings to the table. They played Zeri last game and banning out the Annie and the Anivia, but this time you allow Corki to be coming online, and an immediate R1 pick for the side of Imagine Monkey, or Imagine Mountains, pardon me. Hecarim also was banned out last draft, gets picked up as well. So looking to potentially see some comfort picks now online for Imagine Mountains. Virtue Gaming Ambition, though, they got that Thresh of Felios, which can be such an X factor in the bot lane. Lokidosi played really, really well. Yeah, last game against the Caitlyn didn't die for a considerable amount of time. I think it was like 27 minutes before their first death. I think maybe even longer than that. So really excited to see what the Aphelios is going to be able to bring to the table as we get a little bit of a poke comp from Virtue Gaming Ambition.
Yeah, I love the Aphelios Thresh combo, as you were talking about real quickly. Absolutely think that is just a great combo to have in a game. They pair so well together. Mobility, engage, peel, damage. It's like a you laugh, you cry. It's an emotional roller coaster of a duo down in the bot lane, and you love to see it. I am excited to see the Victor. I think Victor is a great team fight champion. I think he's a great late game champion. I think he can put out a lot of damage. I want to see how he goes into the Corki. I think it's a good answer. Corki's super strong right now, even with his passive being nerfed on the last patch. We saw that it went from 8 to 10 minutes, and then respawning from 4 to 5. So I definitely want to see how viable Corki is at this point. He's still been strong, but definitely looking forward to this game. We are going to get into the second game here in just a moment. Before we get over, Moose, run me through it. Who are you voting for in this game?
I gotta be honest with you. I'm looking at the Imagine Mountain squad, and I'm feeling a bit concerned for Virtue Gaming Ambition. Here's why. You have so much movement speed and initiation from Imagine Mountains that's going to be combated into a lineup that has so little mobility, right? Like, no dashes on the Jace, the Victor, or the Aphelios to be able to get out of an unstoppable force. The only protection that you have is the Thresh, who is going to be able to save one of you if you get hit by the unstoppable force, but not the other two. And on top of that, you're able to layer on that CC with the package from the Corki and the Onslaught of Shadows from the Hecarim. I'm a little concerned for Virtue Gaming Ambition being able to potentially like survive in these team fights, which is something that they like maybe needed to deal, or maybe needed to think about moving forward. I thought that was a really solid R5 pickup from Imagine Mountains, picking up the Malphite. But at the end of the day, if Virtua Gaming Ambition. So like I guess that's my prediction is that Virtua Gaming Ambition it kind of got outplayed in the draft. But if they're able to get that poke in, they've got a ton of poke. They've got a ton of potential peel if they're able to find the right angles to go for the gravity wells and Gravitum to be able to get those roots. Number 2, Ginger being able to put in a lot of damage poke-wise. If they're able to get that poke before the initiation can begin, it means that Virtua Gaming Ambition has a good shot at winning this game.
And simply said, I agree. I do think that the Virtua Gaming find themselves a little bit on the back foot here up against the Imagine Mountain team, but it comes down to execution. We thought the same thing about VGA last game, and they ended up, no way to short sell it, throwing a little bit towards the late game. So even though it looks like an Imagine Mountain favorite right now, depending on how they execute, they could find themselves either with the series or taking it to game 3 if they're not able to do it. So stay tuned. We're going to get into game 2 of the series between Virtua Gaming Ambition and Imagine Mountain here in just a moment. All right, everybody, and welcome back to Virtua Gaming's Twitch channel, where we've got Virtua Gaming Ambition versus Imagine Mountain. This is a Runeterra Academy Senior Week 2 game. Both these teams currently sitting at 0-1 in the standings, so whoever wins this is going to start to see themselves climbing up the standings. I am Charles Elroy. With me is Moose, and we've got this game getting underway right now.
Yeah, very important game here for Virtua Gaming Ambition. A little bit of a redemption potentially as well, as they now have an opportunity to potentially come back, make this a 1-1 series, and take this to a Game 3 situation. I really love when best of threes go to Game 3. I'm from a Smash background, Charles, and so like being able to get to those like the grand finals and seeing like a best of 5 and having it go to 5 games, it's really, really cool. There's so much important play that's needed there to try to be able to make sure that, opportunities come through and to be able to, get those chances to be able to have those really high moments in a really high pressure situation. So same thing being said again with the best of 3 series. So I'm really excited to see who's going to be able to take this one. And I'm looking forward to Virtua Gaming Ambition, being able to prove me wrong. I kind of shot on them a little bit in the draft, but that doesn't mean that they can't, bring it back. That doesn't mean that their poke potential isn't there. It doesn't mean that their mid-game power isn't there, because it is definitely there, and you've got to worry about that if you're Imagine Mountains.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen. It all comes down to execution. You can take the 5 strongest champions against the 5 with the lowest 5 win rate. But if you execute on your plan, you're able to make things happen, right place, right time, not get caught out of position, you can still win a game. And so we're going to get to see these two teams battle out here on the Summoner's Rift as everybody hops into lane. And we do have both of those junglers starting on the top side. Hecarim going to go with his red. Sinzao going to go with his blue. So we expect to see them down on the bot side fighting here in a little bit.
Yeah, no shenanigans like we saw in game 1, Charles. No flashes getting taken before minions spawn. Nothing like that. But we do have a little bit of a lane swap.
Yeah, Champanya fan up in the top lane. Victor, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. Victor in the top lane. We see that's exactly what's going to happen here. And we've got Jace, number 2 Ginger here, going up against the Corki. What do you think they decided to make that swap for?
Oh, definitely for the Corki Jace matchup. Like,
okay,
Jace has a little bit of a better time in the lane against the Corki, just because she has a little bit more range, has a little bit more poke, and can really force Rocket Scout here to have a bit of a harder time to be able to get in on those actual plays. Plus on top of that, you get the movement speed boost with the gun, or I guess the range alteration on the hammer, so that you do actually get that movement speed, so that capture could potentially go in for a potential gank like we're seeing right now.
Yeah, they even brought up it's the afternoon. That's not Jonas either. So they've got another sub in here in this bot lane. And nothing going to connect. They're going to go ahead and back off. Hecarim looking to make a move bot side, though. Ping's coming out. Who's going to go ahead and hover around? And we've got some action going on this bot side. You've got Hecarim looking to maybe make a gank. You've got Thresh towards the mid lane. Captor hanging out with him.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, though, like, for Imagine Mountains, like, it's not a lane that is easily gankable if it's warded correctly. Like, one of our biggest concerns in Game 1 was the lack of vision that was there, especially for a Campania fan in the mid lane. Got set up upon a couple of times in the early game thanks to the Gragas and the Nami. We saw that really nice setup earlier in the play.
There comes an engage. Jace looking to make a move here. However, Hecarim going to come through. Flashes out. The fear does come down. Trying to put some extra damage down. First blood going to go over to Hecarim. Hecarim, he's not afraid to go under a turret and get those kills. And just wasn't deep enough to try and make something happen. First blood goes over to Imagine Mountains.
Yeah, not really worried at full HP there, and so Crazed Juggernaut going to be able to, pick up first blood this game. Definitely, I think, happy about being able to get that extra little bit of protection here for Rocket Scout and the Corki, because teleport was used. So you also get a unfavorable back. Gravitum's going to get used onto Echelon, but nice tornado, and the Death Sentence doesn't land.
Fight's going to keep going. Looks like Echelon trying to get in there. Has to use heal, but the exhaust comes through. They're going to go ahead and go for the engage. Flash comes through. They're going to follow up. One more auto, and it could be done. The heal comes through. Stebby trying to meet shield for him. Going to get the root. Too little, too late. The play brings him back in. It'll be ADC for ADC. Stebby now trying to get out of there. The hook comes through. It is going to be... The fight continues between these two supports. Sorry, we got taken away for just a moment. Stebby here. The flay comes through again. There it is. The knockup comes through. One more auto. Is the hook going to connect? No, it's not up yet. Just barely going to get away. What a long, drawn-out fight between those supports. ADC traded for ADC in that engage. I think that was a great play. I think Echelon, reading that he was going to get killed there anyways, just goes ahead and says, all right, fine. Trades back into the Loki Dosi there, and pretty much at least tries to go 1-for-1.
And is able to initiate at least a 1-for-1. Both supports pick up the kills as well, so neither one of them are able to actually get the damage boost that they get from being able to pick up the extra 300 gold. You get to see the reason why number 2 Ginger was forced into the... I think, this was a forced mid lane play from number 2 Ginger here. You're playing the Jace. We've seen it time and time again throughout this game so far. The power of the poke that number 2 Ginger provides as the Jace. But because he's such a dangerous threat, he's been camped a little bit, and now Dinosaur and Crazed Juggernaut are looking to go for the play here, maybe. Captor,
and it's afternoon on the other side, looking to make a counterplay or throw out some protection, but you've got pings coming out left and right. Everybody's aware of what's going on. Much better job of vision in the mid lane than last game. And both teams going to kind of walk away and say, all right, that's a little, what is that, like a little Cold War in the mid lane, as both teams just kind of stand at ready to go and then back off.
Yeah, you got a couple of weapons of mass destruction. Dinosaur with the Unstoppable Force. If that lands, like, number 2 Ginger is dead. Had Crazed Juggernaut had Onslaught of Shadows, I think that is a play that you make, because both of those champions can dash through the terrain and pick up that kill onto number 2 Ginger, and at that point he doesn't stand a chance. But once again, the poke lands here for this Jason. He's been able to get Rocket Scout to go for a back here. Not the most unfavorable back, because they do just kind of have the lanes be reset, but you do force out a back. You do force out the damage from the back out of Rocket Scout, and because number 2 Ginger got the back that he wanted, he's actually able to get a little bit of a better back this time. Picks up a Serrated Dirk, picking up that extra AD there. Nice Death Sentence.
just, I mean, that's all that's going to happen right there. Nothing much else happens as they just go ahead and lock down some more CS.
I was a little sad. I mean, I thought that they might have actually gone for that fight there. I was
heard
like,
the tone in your voice, and I was ready to start shouting, and then they just started CS, and it was like,
I mean, I understand that, though. You don't know where Crazed Juggernaut is at. He's at the Dragon, so maybe that was an ill-advised play. Me and my silver mind, if I landed that death sentence, I'm going in. Like, that's such a play there. You have Glacial Augment as well to be able to get the extra slows, so the play is going to land as well. So, I mean, that was something that I would have done, but I would have probably gotten me and my ADC both killed, and then I would have gotten flamed. They would have called me a noob and bad and, you know, Iron 5 or whatever it is.
report Moose.
Yes,
Insane.
report me. Because I'm terrible and I want to just be too aggressive on these fights. But I learned my lesson. There's a reason why, you know, they are in the senior year of Runeterra Academy, and I would like be trying to go for my GED.
Yeah, I'd be in junior high or like coming out of elementary school, Runeterra Academy. So totally understand.
But I mean, looking at the rest of the game, I mean, you got a 300 gold advantage for the side of Virtua Gaming Ambition. The ADCs are about even gold. The only gold advantage that we have, it feels like, is for It's the Afternoon on the Thresh, who gets the extra gold from the Targons, right? Like, he gets the extra gold from the Targons buckler, so he's going to be a little bit more impactful. Crazed Juggernaut's going to go for the play.
Crazed Juggernaut making a play here on the top side. Flash comes out by Chimpani Fan. Too little, too late, going to fall. And that is going to be Dinosaur locking up that kill. You do have this Thresh, very mobile. He's up on the top side now, coming back down the mid lane. You've got Lokidosi just soaking up some of the solo XP. Just hits level 7, but still, oh no. Here comes the curtain call to try and make something happen.
Play.
That's going to be a counter kill over from Lokidosi as he's able to lock down Stebby. And Jenny here not able to get that kill. Point blank range with the curtain call. That feels kind of rough. And now you've got Thresh joining the fight here. Maybe looking to make a play. Going to take the Lantern over. Flash comes through. The play comes down. The exhaust is there. Looking to make a hook. That's going to be the kill. And Lokidosi getting a delayed, not official double kill down in the spot lane. Feeling pretty good about where he's sitting right now.
Yeah, Lokidosi just handed a double kill on the silver platter there, Charles. Like, like Stebby is not Malphite, right? Like, Stebby is not Leona, and she goes in for the slow, and once you deal any sort of damage, the turret locks onto you, and you don't have a lot of HP, so you end up getting played. But Lokidosi could potentially be in trouble here.
Lokidosi a little bit too greedy. Tries to put some damage down on Stebby. Not going to be able to make anything happen. Hecarim here. Trying to lock up the kill, but cannot do it. The flash comes through, and this could be a trade. Yeah, I was ready to say you need to back off there, Juggernaut. As Crazed Juggernaut just kept falling up, he kept taking more and more damage, and Lokidosi is able to go ahead and push him out of that fight, and will be able to back with his life intact.
Cheeky escape there from Lokidosi. I mean, just shows a nice, you know, control of the champion. Either luck or skill, the fact that he was able to get Severum as his Moonlight Vigil ultimate, he's able to get that just immediate burst of HP because of the lifesteal that it provides, and so was able to at least get something out of it. And yet another Death Sentence landing onto Echelon.
You've got the fight going through. Captor looking to make a kill here, and he is going to take down Stebby there. And we've got Drake up here in about a minute. That feels pretty good to let him get a little bit of prio here and start setting some vision. Get ready for this Drake.
And this is what I love to see when you have two very strong early game junglers that are able to make an impact on multiple lanes. That's the play that Capture was able to go for. He finds the great assist from It's the Afternoon, who has been somewhat godlike on this Thresh. 1-0-2, you know, 75% kill participation, but every single one of the kills that, you know, he's been a part of, the reason why they get the kill is because he was able to land the great play, or he was able to land the great death sentence. So really, really nicely done. I'm liking what I'm seeing here out of the support. And now we get another potential play coming through. not going to be a play instead. It's just going to
But-
be vision control in the river.
And that would have been a play coming through with Thresh in that fight as well. The only thing that he wasn't involved in was that solo kill that
no.
Sudoxy managed to wrap up. Here we go. That's a lot of damage coming down. Stebby going to find themselves just absolutely deleted on the map. Ashlon trying to defend through. There's 3 men here. Curtain call comes through. Lantern going to be used. And I don't think anything is going to happen down in this bot lane. As Drake is up, and Virtue Gaming going to go ahead and get it rolling.
And on top of that, Captor was also able to pick up the Rift Herald about, 2.5 minutes ago. So he does have that extra little bit of power coming in. He's gonna back off. And so, I think that that's a little bit of a faux pas here from Virtual Gaming Ambition. You need to be able to get that 320 gold that you're guaranteed from the Rift Herald, right? Like you had several members there. Stebby was still down. There's no way he's gonna be able to make it back to bot lane in time. You go to the bot lane, you drop the Rift Herald, get those turret plates in, and you're able to then potentially get something out of this. Great Juggernaut, though, maybe in trouble. Not gonna be able to back away. I think that, just those little things, right? Like, this is the second Rift Herald that we've seen from Virtual Gaming Ambition here in the series that wasn't able to get capitalized upon because the turret platings fall. It just could be used a little bit better, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree. 14 minutes, if you find yourself at 13 minutes, you've won a dragon fight, you've got a power play across the map with your support down, go ahead and get that extra gold on your ADC. He's already doing incredible. He's 2-1-1. He's 117 CS. He's got a full item built. It just makes sense. Like you said, it's just a little bit of a misplay there, and it was things like that that added up that cost them last game. So they've really got to be mindful of how they're playing out this game, because too many of those missteps add up. That's 320 gold here. They had another little 700 gold swing at another point. It's things like that that just start to snowball the enemy team into a winning position. So we are going to see Rift Herald dropped here by Captor in the mid lane. Jace pushing up that wave. Teleport being used by Corki. You've got Dinosaur hanging out here in the wings. Crazy Juggernaut also on the side. Number 2 Ginger in a bad spot. The Lantern is down, and he cannot get to it. That is going to be Dinosaur locking up the kill on number 2 Ginger.
That is so rough. And Flash was used as well. Like, you cringe when that happens in your games, right? You use Flash to try to be able to survive. It's the afternoon. Had the play locked down. He knew what was coming. He drops the Dark Passage, but unfortunately, if he gets CC'd, or if somebody lands right on top of the Lantern, there's no way for you to be able to survive. And so Dinosaur, wisely coming in, and now Loki Dosi in trouble.
Here we go. Loki Dosi almost caught out there. The root will come through. Curtain call goes up. Exhaust goes down on Crazy Juggernaut. He's going to back off. That's okay. The ult comes through from Stebby. Too little, too late. She's going to fall there. You've got Captor countering on the backside, gets Jin, and now Crazy Juggernaut's the only one standing alive.
Oh my
There's the hook.
goodness.
Thresh is absolutely crazy in this game. Rocket Scout there just to go ahead and lock up one of those kills, at least trade something over. 3 for 1 in favor of the side of Virtue Gaming to go ahead and get this first turret gold in their pocket.
Yeah, and had Rock. I'm so sorry to cut you off, Charles.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Bad. I'm just trying to hype up It's the Afternoon because these are some, chef's kiss quality Thresh plays. Had Rocket Scout not roamed down, he survives that too. So I'm super impressed with. I love seeing great playmaking opportunities get made by great support players, and this is why support lives matter. It is the plays that we're seeing from It's the Afternoon. It's just been so impactful. And number 2 Ginger even redeeming himself. He gets the teleport in, and Stebby once again gets caught out as a frontline carry and gets obliterated here as the Janna, who really doesn't have a lot of health. Oh my god, the poke.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming down from that Jace in that fight. Well, not fight, really, just a little bit of poke here. Now you've got Crazy Juggernaut caught out of position. He gets blown up. Corki ends up falling as well on the bot side of that buff pit. And now we've got a fight coming through. Dinosaur out of position here. Gravity Field doesn't quite connect, and it is going to be his time to get away. But wait, Thresh is on the scene. Flay comes through, putting down some damage. Hook connects. You've got the lantern, and that's going to be a kill. Oh, no. Ah, Thresh. I really thought that was going to be Thresh just locking down another kill for the team.
I mean, it was pretty close.
He's got a 90% kill participation at this point. So if he's involved in the fight, there's a good chance that that person is going to die. So you just got to watch out for that. Lokidosi, Ashelon, both of them fighting out. The root does come through. Curtain Call goes up. I'm not going to lie. I'm not impressed with some of the gen ults this game. They feel a little quick to the party. You know what I mean? A little. He lands a root and he's like, "Ooh, Curtain Call," and it's like a half a second, 0.75 second root. Like he can just run away, and if you're point blank range, it's not that far to get out of the ult.
All right. Yeah, it definitely does feel like, you're really trying to fish for these curtain calls here, and well, it can be impactful if they do land. There's really not any follow-up to it, and the way that I see curtain call in this type of composition, right? A dinosaur, not going to go into the unstoppable force, but could have. Ashelon just needs to kind of whittle down some of these lower health members. I think that's why he's using Curtain Call, so liberally here, is he wants to be able to maybe get Lokidosi down to half HP so that when the AP, mind you, the AP Malphite goes in, Stebby's just going to die once again here.
Stebby gets blown up. You got Crazed Juggernaut getting some damage down. There comes the up from Malphite. They're going to go ahead and punish, and that's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Imagine Mountains. Make it 3. Thresh is finally going to fall after his glorious run, getting 10 of the 9 kills up on the board. And now you've got Crazed Juggernaut, Ashelon, and Dinosaur all looking to make a play on this mid turret.
Yeah, it feels bad. Support for hold on.
Great little defense, though. There's the root coming through. Isn't able to make anything happen. They're trying to follow up on it. You've got 3 members. They are going to be able to take this, but Lokidosi definitely doing a great job of trying to defend as best he can. Go ahead. I saw you bursting at the seams.
I was almost hyped there for Lokidosi. He found the Gravitum route onto Crazed Juggernaut under tower, and I was like, oh no, this could go really, really well for Lokidosi. You have another outplay in like a 1v2 or a 1v3, but didn't happen that time. But we get to see the power of the initiation that Dinosaur and Crazed Juggernaut bring to the table. Like, that is so much CC that's layered on top of each other. So if you are Virtue Gaming Ambition, you cannot fight in these corridors. If you get caught out in these corridors, you're going to die, just like we saw in that last fight. Yes, you kill Stebby, but at what cost? It's 2 shutdowns and a Partridge in a Pear Tree there that, give a little bit of life back into Imagine Mountains, who were starting to get a little bit behind. Objective bounties had come through. They really hadn't found anything that was super impactful as of yet, but they were able to find that there. Being able to get the shutdown onto Captor and a number 2 Ginger was pretty massive. The only issue now that you have to deal with is the side lane just dominance that you're able to bring to the table at Virtue Gaming Ambition. You've got the Manamune almost online for number 2 Ginger. You've got just the massive split pushing power that Campania Fan on this Victor is going to be able to bring to the table. So these lanes are going to get split.
Speaking of Campania Fan, what happened last game? He was the one that got caught out too far forward, and it happens again. Rocket Scout and Crazed Juggernaut just in the right time, in right place, right time, and absolutely demolished Campania Fan. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that was just going to... we've got another fight here going. Captor looking to make an engage here, but goes ahead and backs out. You've got Rift Herald getting dropped in the mid lane, and they're going to open it wide up, get themselves a tier 2 turret, and they're looking to maybe make a play on Baron as we see pings coming out left and right, and Teleport is up on both these top laners fighting out in the bot side. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bait and fight here or something.
And that's going to be the, I think, good use there out of the Rift Herald. You had already whittled down the tier 2 tower, and so being able to get the headbutt into the tower falling is definitely feeling good, because when you're able to get mid lane taken care of, that does really reduce the power of your vision over on the side of Imagine Mountains, especially over on your top side of the rift, because you don't have the protection of the outer tower in the top lane, you don't have the inner protection of the tower in the mid lane, and so you definitely are going to be feeling that in terms of vision control for a potential Baron play. I don't know if Baron is the right call here, especially since Dragon is spawning. I don't think that Virtue Gaming Ambition should give up on the Dragon so easily. I think a play to Baron could potentially get scattered out and be disastrous. So they're gonna play here for the Dragon. I think that they can make it happen. They
Wow,
get poked
great
in.
poke.
Oh my word.
All right, the engage comes through from Hecarim, but he just gets knocked out of it. Number 2 Ginger, a little out of position, finds himself in a 2v1. Bad blast cone, but beautiful lantern. Again, this Thresh just making plays. Corki's going to fall off screen. We see Hecarim fall there. The fight continues. Ashlon trying to lay down some damage on number 2 Ginger, but finds himself getting poked down very, very low in the process. And 4 very healthy members from the side of Virtue Gaming are going to lock up their second Drake of the game. And they find themselves now tied, 2 Drakes to 2 Drakes. And they have the Infernal. That's a lot extra, not a lot, but that's some extra damage that's going to be added on there. And they're running straight over to Baron. They're 4 very healthy members, and they've got a jungler. While on the flip side, Crazed Juggernaut is not up right now and can't 50-50 this thing, so they're going for it.
Yeah, and you get the perfect guns for Logidosi as well, red and white. So they got to be worried about the Unstoppable Force, though, as Teleport comes through.
Teleport comes through. The Thresh is looking to make an engage here. Unstoppable Valkyrie from the Corki. He gets taken very low, though, very quickly. He falls. Another teleport coming in from Imagine Mountain, though. That is the Malphite going golden. Dinosaur getting chased out here. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far. The fight continuing in favor of Virtue Gaming, though. That Hecarim very low. He's going to fall. Now you've got Dinosaur taken quite low. Does manage to get the kill over onto Jace. It's a 2-for-1 in favor of Virtue Gaming so far.
And so once again, Crazed Juggernaut has now seen Death Screen for 85 out of the last 105 seconds. Here, Charles, he's not been having a good time. The last couple of team fights, just getting initiated upon not initiated upon, but going for plays that don't necessarily work out. Like the first play over at Dragon was Crazed Juggernaut seeing the opportunity to go on to onto number 2 Ginger, but there was no other follow-up there. He was so far out that the rest of the squad, primarily Rocket Shot and Ashlon, they were just not close enough to follow up to the damage. And that's not the play, that's not the way that the composition for Imagine Mountains needs to go for. You need to be able to get the guaranteed CC from Unstoppable Force and Unstoppable Onslaught to be able to get that CC so that Ashlon and Rocket Scout are able to just put in their damage and obliterate them. But we don't get to see that because we're seeing initiation from Imagine Mountains that's kind of, not in the right order. It shouldn't be Valkyrie first. It should be, Unstoppable Force first. It should be the Unstoppable Onslaught first. And so with Rocket Scout going in, Crazed Juggernaut falls. You don't get the Baron, but tempo continues to go over to the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition.
No, and you're completely right. They have so much CC on the side of Imagine Mountain, but if you don't layer it in the right order, it's completely useless. Because they can just nullify that initial engage from the Hecarim, blow him up, and then it doesn't matter if Dinosaur goes in, or if you have Steady Layer on something, or if you have Valkyrie used even with package. It still doesn't matter because now it's a 4v5, and you're not going to win that. So yeah, it definitely matters how they layer this out. Also, it feels like it's kind of Imagine Mountain's turn to be a little out of position here. We've seen, like you mentioned, Hecarim had that engage down on Jace on that bot side fight. Wasn't in position, didn't have people there to help him. The fight gets turned around and ends up going in Virtue Gaming's favor. You've got that engage there on the top side. Again, Hecarim, Crazed Juggernaut goes in to get the engage, isn't able to have any kind of real follow-up, and they end up losing 2 versus 1 member there. So it's just a matter of positioning and execution, right? If you're going to play a comp where you have to layer your CC down and you have to do it in a certain order, then that's what you have to do. Otherwise, you're just throwing the game. And that's kind of what we're watching here right now.
All right, Charles, I got a conundrum for you. A question.
Hit me.
How many tiers does it take to make a tidal wave?
Oh. How many tiers does it take to make a tidal wave? I feel like this is a riddle that I'm not going to get. How many tiers?
I'm gonna tell you. It's probably more than 5, but we have 5 Tier of the Goddess items in this game. 2 on Virtue Gaming Ambition has 2, and Imagine Mountains has 3. So maybe not the best segue, but I just wanted to bring that up because that is a lot of tears being cried from these heavens.
No, that's a lot of tears for a game. Manamune has had, I feel like there was a period where you didn't see it get built that often a couple years ago. And since they kind of did some of the item reworks about a season or 2 ago, you started seeing it get built more and more often to where now almost every main damage dealer or carry on your team has to have it. Or has to have some form of a tier item. And now they've got the tier tank item that you see being built on Malphite there. What is the Thimblewinter? Thimblewinter. I mean, tier has become just such a strong item in the game now. To the fact that, Rise isn't the only one that can get a benefit out of it. He thought he had a monopoly on it there for a while, and now you get to see it on almost every major player in the game. I love it.
I want to shout out the macro play from Imagine Mountains has definitely been superior. They get Dragon for free, and Virgin Gaming Ambition, they try to make a play to go for a potential, Baron. They try to bait out the roam from Mountains over to Baron, but they didn't scout out vision. So Imagine Mountains knew that the Baron wasn't getting started, so they're able to take Dragon for free. The play doesn't necessarily work. They get the back that they want, and now they're at Soul Point. So a bit of an interesting dynamic there, a bit of a strange macro dynamic to give the Soul Point over like that. But hey, you have to take those risks every now and again.
I mean, maybe it's a strategy. Well, I'm not sure if it's the right strategy. I'm not sure if it's a good strategy, but at least they've got a plan, right? No, they do end up giving Mountain Soul Point over to the side of Imagine Mountain here. They still got a 4,000 gold lead. They still got 2 Drakes stacked up. They're up 4 kills. They certainly have more turret pressure across the map. So I don't think they're super, super worried. I think they tried to make a little bit of a macro play there by trying to bait out the fight over at Baron. It didn't work. They weren't able to get it. And so, things happen sometimes. But they're certainly in a better position than they were last game.
I would say, they're pretty much in the same position that they were in game 1, right? Like, they were
at this point, yes.
Yeah, like they were in the lead gold-wise. They were, they made that great play at Dragon game 1 that was able to get them, but they once again have champions that are going to be able to scale into the late game quite nicely in the Victor and in the Aphelios. And right now, the Victor is so menacing. 2-3 items, 253 CS. Is going to be able to just eat away at the health bars that Dinosaur has, so he's going to be able to win that split push unless Dinosaur wants to commit to the Unstoppable Force. He does have AP, but he doesn't necessarily have enough AP to, I think, finish the job. So could be a little bit of something that we want to keep in mind as the split push comes through. But so far, it is still anybody's game. We just got to see how it's going to play out. Ascalon. Curtain call.
It is. The root comes through, and Jin decides to open up the curtain call, and he'll get 2 or 3 shots off, not much more than that. It's like clockwork. If he hits a root, he is hitting the R button immediately. The chase coming down, 4v3 here in the mid lane, though. Teleport coming through for both teams, so it's going to be 5v4 now. Malphite still back at base. His teleport is up. His teleport is coming through, although he is farther back in the fight. Crazy Juggernaut tries to get the engage on this Virtue team.
Wow.
It works as they will lose Aphelios and Jace. Now you've got the Victor very likely going to fall here next, and that is Thresh and Zhengzhou alive on this map, but relatively low health bars. I don't know if Baron is going to be a wise choice here, as you've got Ashlon relatively low, Debbie relatively low. They're going to try and make it work. We'll see what happens.
And this is something that potentially Capture could go up against, but they're not going to. That actually, like, when I was looking at the fight and seeing it play out, I thought that Virtue Gaming Ambition were going to be able to make that one, but Dinosaur's unstoppable forces have been so good this game. I am very impressed with what I've seen from Dinosaur here. He's been able to get really massive plays onto the back line. Lokidosi and Number 2 Ginger were both hit by that unstoppable force. He then drops the Everfrost to be able to lock them in place, and at that point, Rocket Scout and Ashelon are just able to have a field day with them. They're thankful that, you know, they didn't lose the game there, because that could have been an opportunity there. Number 2 Ginger gonna flash in, though.
Yeah, Number 2 Ginger goes out some poke onto that Jin, flashes in for the knockout, not able to connect. Curtain Call comes down without a root this time. Captain will fall. It's going to be traded over, jungler for jungler. That is a beautiful threshold, comes through on Ashelon, follow-up, and that's going to be Jin taken down. Stebby follows after. The follow-up is going through. Corky's going to be taken down. This could be an ace if they're able to lock up Dinosaur, and that is going to be a quadra kill for the Jace. Who stole his kill?
Game. That is game. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're down
my
for
god.
Hecarim and Stebby are up in about 25 seconds or so. They're going to keep the push on. Inhib is falling. You've only got 3 strong members, but you're going to have another 15 seconds where you're alone, and then you'll have another 10 seconds where it's just the 2 of you. They're going to hit the game here. This is going to be the win.
Oh my god. It's the afternoon, taking us to a game 3. That death sentence was so good. It was so good, Charles. Oh my god, I'm Crazed Juggernaut. I don't know who it was, but Dinosaur or Crazed Juggernaut, they let Ashelon get hit by the death sentence, and that is the green light for the Thresh to go in. He gets the flay onto 3 members. He traps them all in the box, and at that point, you're able to land the massive damage from the Shockwave. The poke is there from Campania Fan, and you're able to turn that fight around. You turn that game around, and you get us to a game 3 situation. This is what I love about Master, Grandmaster level players, is that you have these moments of brilliance that are better than really any other tier that you get. They're just not super consistent. Like, there are misplays that are still there, but the fact that that death sentence lands into such a play for Virtue Gaming Ambition is going to lead them to the promised land. Game 3 on the line for them. Man, what a series so far.
Yeah, I mean, it was just an incredible job. Like you said, as soon as that hook lands onto Ashelon, it was go time. Green light all the way. They managed to get the kills, and it's just one after another. And once they have an ace, I wasn't thinking that it was going to happen. You called it out immediately that it was game, and it was like, no, they're going to be able to spawn quick enough. And they just ran through, take down the Nexus, and we've got ourselves a game 3 here in this series. So don't tune anywhere else. We got you for one more game between Virtue Gaming Ambition and Imagine Mountain in this Runeterra Academy Senior Week 2 series. See who is going to win the series in the last game coming up next. All right, everybody, welcome back to Game 3 in the series between Virtue Gaming Ambition and Imagine Mountain in this Runeterra Academy Senior Week 2 game. I'm Charles Elroy, with me is Anus, and we've got the draft for Game 3 up on the screen right now. Interesting picks. I mean, each game we're getting a little something different. I like it. It keeps us on our toes.
It's spicy, but Imagine Mountains, I'm curious. Okay, so you got Corki, Seraphine, Karma, Graves, Aatrox. We've seen so many lane swaps this game that it could just be anything at this point. But I think that the consensus here is it's Aatrox top, Graves jungle, Corki mid with the Seraphine Karma bot lane.
Yes.
Kind of taking us back to season 11 a little bit with the Seraphine bot, maybe some of your Wild Rift days as well, and being able to, have the sort of bot lane Seraphine that has, fallen out of prominence just because of the lack of extra damage that you're able to get, the extra oomph that you had before she got nerfed in the bottom lane. Wasn't able to get that same power that she's able to do in a solo lane. But the thing that I'm worried about right now is Imagine Mountains, they do not have a lot of health on this squad.
No, relatively squishy team. You've got the Aatrox, who is going to be, your front line. The Graves, he's not that big. He's relatively squishy. You've got the Corki squishy, Seraphine squishy, Karma squishy. You've got some shielding coming out, obviously, between that Seraphine and Karma that'll buy you some time.
Right.
But no, if you catch anything on them, a solid ult from Hecarim, a solid ult from Yuumi, a charm from Ahri, a lot of CC coming through on this VGA team now I'm seeing. Renekton with his point and click stun, even Jhin with his W, like every single person has some form of hard CC coming in their kit. So if it is going to be that's what they're operating on, you've got a really, really rough time if you're coming from the side of Imagine Mountains.
Yeah, exactly. And so like that is something that does worry me here when I see this lineup. Like I'm not seeing this team fight. I'm not seeing the team fight play out in my head. I'm not being able to visualize it, right?
No.
And that's where I'm trying to get is like, where does the Seraphine fit into this? Because she doesn't really have the pushing power that maybe another ADC would be able to provide, but the rest of the team can't really play in team fights. So you have two enchanters that really aren't going to be super impactful. On the other side of that coin, though, you've got Corki, Graves, and Aatrox, some of the best split pushers in the lane or in the game, with Corki having so much mobility and then the Graves and the Aatrox just being able to just wallop on these minions and get those aggressions going into these side lanes. It's a little confusing for me to see how it's going to be playing out. Yes, if you are able to get early objectives and it result in an early Rift Herald that results in early gold, the Corki's going to be able to scale out and no one's going to be able to contest the poke that he's able to provide in. You get that poke in, you get the team fight that you want because the poke is now there because you get a nice encore from the Seraphine, all the shielding comes in, and then you have a really strong team fight if the Corki or the Graves get fed. Virtue Gaming Ambition, though, I think they're built enough for the early game that they're going to be able to stagnate Imagine Mountains long enough for them to be able to get into advantageous positions throughout the fights and to be able to make it happen. My big like focal point when I'm looking at Virtue Gaming Ambition is I want to see an 8-minute Rift Herald take from Ambition. With Renekton Hecarim, you should be able to just clear out the top lane, be able to take that Rift Herald and just use it to get the momentum going, to start that snowball. And once you do, Jhin and Ahri are going to be carrying you into the mid game. And this game could be over gold-wise by the 22, 23-minute mark.
I'm along with you. I feel like I don't understand where the Seraphine and the Karma, how that works into the whole comp. Like, I see that you've got some damage coming out. You've got a solid AP. You've got a solid AD. You've got a bruiser. If you shield them in the fights, like, I see what they're trying to go for. I just think it's going to be more of a solid execution coming out from this side of Virtue Gaming.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see how it gets going here. In the meantime, though, we're going to go ahead and get right into the game. So we're going to transition over here as we speak. That being said, the other thing I want to point out, that Jhin, I want to see that Jhin on the side of Virtue Gaming use that curtain call in a constructive way. That's all I want to see. I know I talked about it a couple times. I really want to see Loki-Dosi show Ashelon this is how you W on Jhin. That's that's all I'm wanting to see. But besides that, I think we've got a great game 3 set up here. I am going to lean my head a little bit towards the side of Virtue Gaming. I just think they have a little bit stronger team comp. I think they've got a lot better build out, and I think they have a much easier comp to execute on. How about you?
Yeah, I think that's going to be that's the determining factor here is ease of access to a winnable game state is a little bit not a little bit. I would say, there's a lot more potential from Virtue Gaming Ambition. There's so many other win conditions that the side of Imagine Mountains don't necessarily have. I want to see Stebby redeem themselves, because I really feel like game 2, Ashelon and Stebby kind of dropped the ball. Game 1 was definitely really, really good. I really liked what Stebby was able to do with the Nami. I thought that, Ashelon played really, really well as the Ziggs, but in game 2, they kind of got caught out a little bit, and it resulted in, Loki-Dosi being able to get a lot of early kills, being able to get that early damage in. And we'll have to see if that happens again, as Ashelon does get slowed, but not going to have anything happen to it.
Like you said, they definitely had a solid game 1, a rough game 2. So we need to see how it all shakes out in this third game. But both teams getting a pretty standard 5-point out here. We do get to see it's the afternoon back in the game, and Rocket Scout back in the game. And that's a beautiful Renekton skin. I just want to point that out. That is a beautiful little pink chroma coming out from number 2 Ginger here. I love what I'm seeing.
Oh, look at it. Look at that. He's got that drip, yo. I can say drip, right? Like, drip's still cool.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah. He's dripping. He's got the he's got me tearing up with just how beautiful that skin looks. It is actually really, really pretty, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I love some of those promos they have. I mean, Riot's really stepped up their skin game over the last couple of years, and it shows. But yeah,
I have 2 chroma skins. I have one Victorious. I have one for Victorious Graves and one for Pool Party Talia, but that is it. I don't buy into the chroma skins.
Okay. Here, let me ask you this: do you have a group of 5 that you play with? That you load up on for flex games or for Summoner's Rift at all, or do you do like solo duo a lot?
No, I don't have friends.
Okay, that was my nice way of asking. If you've got friends and all 5 of you go in and just like a beautiful pink lineup across the board, you've already won the game when you 5-point out and the other enemy team sees that. So it's definitely. It's definitely a factor if you've got a 5-man group. So if you ever want to hang out with my friends, we'd love to have you in, but you got to get more chromas.
Oh man, I don't know if I can do that. I don't see it. Nice root there on the Loki-Dosi though, but I guess I don't see the appeal to it unless I am playing as a squad and we want to be aesthetically pleasing, as the cool kids say.
A lot of damage coming down from number 2 Ginger here onto Dinosaur. Both the junglers going to meet up here in the topside river as well. Some damage coming down onto Crazed Juggernaut. This could be a solo kill. He does manage to get over. And now you've got Captor on this Hecarim coming back up to help out Dinosaur. And he's beautiful job of handing over that kill to the Renekton. Really, really nice play from Captor to let Renekton have that and just kind of walk away. There's the root. And they're looking to make this dive. They're continuing to go through. Rocket Scout going to go back under turret. They're going to keep this fight going. The flash comes through. The stun goes out, and that's going to be Champagne Fan locking up the second kill of the game so far. Virtue Gaming executing on their team comp, just as we said. Beautiful job.
Oh man, you can't give Hecarim over to capture. Like, he's so good at the champion. He's so good, man. You know, you and I think we casted. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was Ambition's Week 1 Runeterra Academy or if it was a different Ambition series. But
I want to say it was the same team, but it was maybe 2-3 weeks ago that we cast together.
Yeah. So I don't think it was Runeterra Academy, but I do remember we saw Capture being played with that Hecarim, and he performed so well. I believe it was game 1 that he played as the Hecarim and was able to get so many early kills, and that's the power of the Hecarim. Like, the Graves needs a little bit of time to get online, to be able to get unlocked, and now, like...
number 2 Ginger taking quite a bit of damage. Conquer proc flash used, and that's going to be the kill going over to Dinosaur there, as he will flash for it just to lock it up.
Yeah, that was a little bit ambitious from number 2 Ginger. I think he was trying to go for a little bit more of a favorable back. I don't know why he stayed, because you see there on his items, like, he has the Iron Spike Whip already. Like, there's no reason for him to continue staying there because he already has that big buy that he needed. So a little bit of a interesting position there, but we do get another gank now bot side.
Yeah, both the junglers going to run into each other again. Crazed Juggernaut getting caught out. The exhaust comes through. He will manage to escape with his life fully intact. But yeah, Loki Dosi, and it's the afternoon. Feeling really good about where they're at in lane here. They're doing a really good job of poking out. They've got, a negligible CS lead, but they feel dominant in the lane.
Loki Dosi going for the throat a little bit. Fleet footwork and Ghost here for him, so he has a ton of movement speed from the Ghost, and then has the extra damage from Fleet Footwork as well. So he's looking to really go in for the executes here. So when I see Fleet Footwork, I mean, obviously Gale Force is the primary build path, and that's another reason why I love like Grandmaster level play, is that you do have these champions and these players that are, skillfully competent in their champions, but they can play a little bit more experimental with things. Like, I don't see Fleet Footwork Ghost on most of the Jins that I play with or watch, but it could potentially work out here. I'd like to see him be able to use the extra movement speed and the extra damage that Fleet Footwork provides to be able to potentially get that Gale Force kill, or to potentially be able to get the execute that he wouldn't have gotten had he not gotten it otherwise. So really exciting to see that play come through, and as we get the back, we'll see what he's able to pick up here.
No, but you bring up a good point. Earlier I was talking about experimenting in top lane because there's not a whole lot that goes on up there. But on the flip side of that, when you have somebody that's skilled enough in their role and with these champions, like obviously, I'm not at their level at all. I don't understand the intense. Oh, we got a little bit of a fight here. Champani fan going to have to get away. No real follow-up going to go through there. But you have these players, like you said, at the Master Challenger level that know the ins and outs of these champions so well that they can make plays like this, make decisions like that are just really, really crazy to see and can actually work.
Oh my goodness, Captain's going to try to go for it.
He is, but he's got Yuumi on him just to give a little support. The last Smite used there, upgraded just to give him a little bit of life, I think, for that turret shot. But they are going to go ahead and push this in and get out of there. But no, really good point about just how some of those upper level people can operate within the game that others wouldn't be able to.
I'm, again, Campania fan, if you watch this series back, like, I want to let you know, like, I'm not trying to bag on you this series, but your mid lane vision you've gotten dove on so many times here in this series, it's not been good.
No, a little out of position, not the greatest vision. This would definitely be a great game for Champani fan to review for improvement. That's all that we're saying. That there is some opportunity in the reels for future gains in your gameplay.
And I mean, like, I think it's more just it's more just the mid lane. Like, the top lane, it was a little bit better, but game 1, the Syndra got like pretty much just outplayed because of lack of vision, and it's not all your fault. Like, it's a five-man game, and you're a 5-man team for a reason. Like, the rest of your squad needs to be able to make sure that the mid lane stays protected, because you do provide so much, control of the rest of the map, objective control, and all that fun stuff as root lands.
Yep, the root comes through. Tether not going to quite connect over to Jen. You've got Crazed Juggernaut trying to put some damage down. The ult comes through. They are able to lock up this Echelon here on Seraphine. Stebby going to grind meat block via meat shield. You've got Crazed Juggernaut taking some damage down too. Loki Dosi still very much alive. Smite comes through, but now you've got Captor in the area. He's going to make the engage. Loki Dosi, oh! That feels bad. Just opens up Curtain Call just to die shortly afterwards. It's still a 2-for-1 trade in favor of...
what a play!
Virtue Gaming. And that's going to be another kill going over. And that's 4 kills across the map going in favor of Virtue Gaming. Renekton locks up one. Ari locks up one. Jim locks up one. And Hecarim is able to lock up one. Just great job all the way through.
Man, and if you are Imagine Mountains, you're scratching your head because you just lost a play across the rift, Charles. You lost a play across the rift. Every single one of your team got outplayed there. Loki Dosi showing us the power of the Ghost. The extra movement speed that Lumi was able to provide was able to get him into a favorable position and buy enough time so that Capture was able to come through and finish the job. You feel bad that you die, you get ticked down there at the very end, but Capture is able to come back, and he wants more. Stubby's in trouble.
Stubby is definitely in trouble. The smite comes through, the flare comes out. He's got out of position, he's going to fall, and they're going to put a lot of damage. The root comes through, and that's going to be 2 kills going over to the side of Virtue Gaming as they were able to lock up another set of kills down here, and they are finding themselves very much in the lead at just a little over 10 minutes into the game. They have what looks to be, my screen's a little fuzzy, so bear with me. I think it's about a 1,000 gold lead, if not a little more.
Yeah, massive damage, massive gold lead right now for the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition. You can see the gold charts on your screen now. A 1,500 gold lead for... I'm partying.
Here comes the engage. That's going to be Aatrox falling here, and that's going to be Graves. Another 2 kills going over to the side of Virtue Gaming. Yeah, their team comp is just easier to execute on. It flows together. It's got more synergy. It offers just so much more. It's so much easier to execute on. There's so much that it offers.
Yeah.
Do you see this turning around in favor of Imagine Mountain? If so, how?
Pick on Campani fan would be good.
Okay. Let's see if they're able to make that happen. Not quite. Nice
Nope.
little sidestep there.
All right, no, then it's over then. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like there's
wrap
nothing,
it up.
Yeah, there's nothing that Imagine Mountains can do at this point. No, it's tough, right? Like you needed to be in the lead somewhere on the rift so that Crazed Juggernaut especially could, potentially capitalize upon it, but you've been outplayed in every single lane at this point. You're in a 5,000 gold deficit at the 12.5 minute mark. Every single member of the Virtue Gaming Ambition squad is playing brilliantly. And so with that being said, like Crazed Juggernaut does not have a lane where he's able to really, be impactful upon. The issue with maybe hold that thought. Captor's maybe in trouble here.
Oh, it's afternoon, finally getting blown up. Captor taking some damage down. Great little answer from the side of Imagine Mountains. We're opening together as a team. I think that's what they have to do to get back in. This great charm from Seraphine there. Manages to get the root down. Loxy Doxy gets taken out. Now Champagne Fan going to get rooted down. Stebby following up. There's Rocket Scout. Beautiful little flash, but just a little too late, and it's going to be Champagne Fan ulting out of there, but they certainly put themselves in a position to get back and get Drake. So we were talking about it. This looks like it's their answer for how to get back in the game. They have to roam together as a 4-man squad, and then they kind of have a little bit more synergy as a 4-man squad. It's not going to quite be, these 2 or 3-man burst groups like the side of Virtue Gaming can offer. They have to be all together, but they can do it. So there's your answer. And as we say that, 3 members from the side of Virtue Gaming come together to make a kill happen on the Aatrox up on the top side, and they will lock down and send him back to the gray screen for the 4th time, and very likely lock up first turret.
Yeah, it doesn't get that last turret plate there, but I mean, you said it correctly. Like picks are the play when you are so far behind, and like, despite maybe having a unconventional team composition, being able to have 2 enchanters on your team innately gives you the power in these team fights to bring out, you know, the best out of your champions. And they cut me off when I was trying to get this play about Graves. Graves Juggernaut wants potential to be able to get in. Rocket Slouch is going to get dove upon and will just, like, die here. Capture's unstoppable. But, like, Graves needs a little bit of lockdown so that he's able to land his burst, like, accurately, right? Like, he needs to be able to get some sort of lockdown in, and that's how they were able to get the kill onto Lokidosi and It's the Afternoon. They were able to get some CC so that Crazed Juggernaut was able to land the damage. That was a great encore from Ashelon as well, to be able to get Lokidosi out of position. Had that not landed, the Jhin is able to escape and survives, but for the most part, like, you're looking for these picks. Campania fan, sure, maybe, but so far, I mean, you're still playing really, really well if you're Virtue Gaming Ambition.
Let us see what we got going on here. Turrets have fallen, both of them in the mid lane. Top lane, tier 1 turret has fallen. Jhin is working on the tier 1 bot turret. They're up 12 kills to 4. They're up 3 turrets to none. The Drake is spawning here in about 3 minutes. They're certainly going to be in position to get that more than likely. You know, as we said, it really comes down to picks if you're on the side of Imagine Mountain. Outside of that, I don't know there's much they can do to slow this Virtue Gaming team down. Here's Crazed Juggernaut trying to follow up. Number 2 Ginger says, cool, bro. Tell me about it. And
yeah, I mean,
just goes ahead and walks away.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem. You have no lockdown when you're Graves, and you go Challenging Spot as well to be able to, you know, deny a little bit of the damage that the opponents are able to come in with, but you don't have the slow, you don't have any extra CC because you don't have any follow-up from the rest of your team. So you kind of just walk up, and number 2 Ginger says, I will dash away, I will, you know, continue to survive. There's really not much that you can do to stop me here. And with that being said, you're going to start getting some really high-end items now unlocked for Virtue Gaming Ambition. Manamune is almost online for capture. He has the Turbo Chem Tank, so he is one speedy boy with Ghost and Chilling Smite as well. So he's going to be able to get into position fairly easily there. You've got Lokidosi being able to pretty much sustain himself with the Gale Force and Flash and Ghost when it is online. So these team fights are going to be really, really good here. And we get to see this movement speed in action. Capture's going to try to maybe find something in the top side. Maybe not. Never mind.
He's hunting around. I mean, he's not afraid to tower dive. He can certainly still keep something up. Meanwhile, let's see. We've got Graves going for a little counter jungling, so they are kind of stealing from each other here. Dinosaur just kind of dancing around, but there's not much he can do, and he knows it. There comes the root from Lokidosi. There's the fear. Dinosaur gets exhausted, and that's the 5th time he has been sent back to the fountain with the gray screen.
Yeah, number 2 Ginger really happy about this play, and it's the power of the Renekton. You know, the Ascendant over the Darkin. The Ascendant has the early game power. Curtain Call getting used.
That's how you curtain call, but he does get caught out. Crazed Juggernaut putting some damage down, not able to lock up the kill. He's going to manage to survive. Loxi gets healed up from Yumi. Double kill goes over to Hecarim. It's a 3-for-0 trade in favor of Virtue Gaming, and they're going to keep the fight going. The stun goes through on Stebby. You've got Capture in the area now, looking to make a move. They're going to keep the dive going. Turret shot after turret shot. The root comes through. That's Capture with another kill. That's an unofficial triple in case you keep the track. Dinosaur alive again, looking to make them do the trade. But these two can certainly put out some damage. They might just win it. That is going to be Aatrox locking up the kill. Number 2 Ginger caught out of position here as well. He will likely fall, and that's 2 more kills going over the side of Imagine Mountain. But that's more greed coming from Virtue Gaming giving those kills over than it is anything else.
Yeah, I mean, definitely trying to go for the flashy plays here when you're in the lead by 8K, almost 9K gold at this point. Like, you you kind of feel like you're in control, and you almost drop the wallet on the Dinosaur, but you do give him a little bit of a donation there, be picking up that kill on to Capture. He gets 1,000 gold out of that play. Campania Fan's looking to make something happen here. He's not going to be able to, so he is in trouble.
Yep, there comes the charm. Is able to absolutely blow up Rocket Scout on this Corki. There's Crazed Juggernaut taking quite a bit of damage as well. He'll fall. That's 2 for L. You've got the fight continuing to go on. It's going to be an ace here, and that is going to be Dinosaur. Okay, so Dinosaur manages to just kind of get out of there, but it is an ace. Speaking of flashy, do you watch Demon Slayer at all?
No, I'm not cool like you.
Nope. Okay. No. You're cooler than me. I watch anime. That's not cool.
Oh, I'm just a Naruto super fan. That's the only anime that I watch.
That's fair.
I just watch that on repeat. I got it tattooed on my leg.
That's very fair. That's fair. Like I just started getting into it. Either way, there's a character in this season that just is flashy so often, and everything is flashy with the dub. So it's just kind of funny. We see another fight here going. Rocket Scout gonna get caught out. Beautiful curtain call. That's how you do it. And yeah, that's 2 more kills going over to the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition as they find themselves up. Oh, what's the math on that? 17 kills, 12,000 gold, 5 turrets, and they're down a Drake. But I guess you can't win it all.
No, you can't win it all, but you're an 11-1 Hecarim, 10,000 gold compared to 6k for Crazed Juggernaut. Like, you can give away a dragon there. I mean, let's be real, Charles. At 20 minutes into the game, if this was a solo queue matchup, you're FFing.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't foresee a way, even with like a monumental throw. It's gonna take like, massive throws from the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition to be able to lose this one and to lose that on this series. So, like, shout out to Virtue Gaming Ambition. I think that they have this game pretty much in the bag. I don't want to commentators curse it, but I mean, this game is over in terms of like live happening, because we are watching the replay. We don't know who wins this one, obviously, but like, I'm not commentators cursing it because it's already happened, right?
Yeah, of course. No matter what you say, it will not change what we see.
Right, because somebody already knows the outcome, right? The spoilers are for the players. They already have it coming through. With that being said, like, Campania Fan, I think the choice to go Ahri was really smart. Like, yes, they have gotten a little bit caught out in some of the like early laning phases, right? Like we saw in game 1, we were talking about, the lack of vision a little bit. But when you're playing Ahri, like, you have the protection of Spirit Rush. Once you hit level 5, you have the protection of Charm to be able to stop CC for a little while longer. That you do have a little bit more, protection and a little bit more of a chance to be able to get out of those ganks. And lo and behold, 3-0 and 6 here at the 22-minute mark. 10-stack Magi, this Dinosaur gets dove upon.
And the exhaust comes through. Dinosaur taking some damage. The ultimate comes through from Yumi, and that's going to be a kill. Going over to Captor, who finds himself 12-1-8, participating in a nice chunk of the kills across the board, and they get the 6th turret of their game, and they are going to go ahead and ping over to Baron and put some pressure on it. Meanwhile, Ahri down in the bot lane, keeping the split going. She's going to back TP's up. She can answer wherever she needs to.
Yeah, Campania Fan has done some really nice work in terms of split pushing in games 1 and game 2 and game 3. The Victor, obviously one of the best split pushers. Campania Fan getting caught out in game 1, I think playing to the way that they want to play the game. They want to be able to have that mobility. They want to be able to be in the split pushing role. You can see that, they're playing that right now. Campania Fan is over in the split pushing role, has almost the most CS in the game, as barring Lokidosi as the Jhin. So I mean, and now in the lead, like, she can go in for these 1v, or they can go in for these 1v2s and probably have a good time. They got the Zhonyas as well, so I mean, they're definitely feeling comfortable. And with the assistance of Capture on the way, I mean, this could potentially be a push that maybe cracks an inhibitor. I would be surprised if it doesn't. As Spirit Rush now coming in, maybe. Yep, there it is.
Beautiful charge. There's
There.
the auto. Nice job. Hecarim just too late to the party, isn't able to get anything off of that. And they're just going to continue to crash these waves in. Meanwhile, we're necking up in the jungle.
nice
Just doing this thing. Curtain call comes through. Beautiful shot. That's how you do it. There's one kill. Waiting for it. Doesn't connect with anybody else. But they're just continuing to dive left and right. Double kill for Champagne Fan. And, oh, the flash. Look at Hecarim just taking turret after turret shot just to say he can. That's mean.
Yeah, a little bit of BM there from Virtue Gaming Ambition, but when you're in the lead like that, I mean, you definitely feel it. Like Virtue Gaming Ambition knew that this should have been a 2-0 series. They luck out in game 2, however. Like they should have lost game 2 if not for It's the Afternoon and that final death sentence play to get us to this point. And I think that maybe a little bit of salt on Imagine Mountains here, because I mean, this was not a comp that was destined for greatness. They end up falling behind. They end up losing the game in game 2, and maybe that salt and that mental gets affected, which leads to absolute domination from Virtue Gaming Ambition. Like, there's no other way to put it. This was a slaughter, to use Trendemir's words, over on the side of Virtue Gaming Ambition, and they take the series 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was a back and forth game in game 1. It was a back and forth game in game 2. We got to see both these teams have great team fights. Some of them were out of position. Some of them stepped up. Game 3, though, just one-sided all the way. I think we could tell from the draft that it was going to be one-sided, and then as soon as we got onto the Rift, the way they executed on it, Captor on the Hecarim, should never have let that happen. Champagne Fan on Ahri, just like you said, so mobile, so good in the split push that she had to be answered 2v1. And that Renekton combined so well with the rest of this team that they end up getting the win, getting the series. They find themselves now 1-1 in the standings, and they put Imagine Mountains at 0-2 in the standings for Runeterra Academy Senior.
Yeah, and great series. It was a really back and forth series. I can say it now. We can say it now, because the curtain has fallen here on the series. We knew, I knew at least, because I did get it spoiled in the Discord chat, that we were going to a game 3 situation. But we didn't know how. Like, we had no idea how. And it's all thanks to this man right here, number 2 Ginger, who is with us on the screen, who was with us on the stream to go in for a post-game interview, regardless of the spoilers. Thank you so much, number 2 Ginger. Congratulations on your game 3 victory and dominance in that game 3.
Hi, thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about how you felt in that game 3. That was the most one-sided game of the series, obviously. You guys were just totally in control. How are you feeling after that game so far?
Yeah, I mean, that game honestly made us feel pretty bad about game 1 and 2. With clearly it wasn't very it was pretty one-sided. I feel like they were kind of boomed after game 2 because I think the game was just kind of lost for them in draft, and it was pretty easy for us to play.
We were talking about that same thing when we were watching draft, that their comp didn't make sense, whereas yours seemed to have a beautiful job, Balerian CC, a nice combination of dive potential, of damage, of mobility. Like, you guys had a really good team comp versus theirs, which had some shielding. And that's kind of what they had, right? They had a little bit of shielding. So yeah, we got that same vibe there. In game 2, you guys role swapped out. Tell me a little bit about the thinking there, how you felt that went, and a little bit about that Jace play.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like we wanted Jace there just to add some poke, because they had a really, really good front to back fight. And then since they have the counter pick on us, it's pretty guaranteed that Jace is not going to have a good lane. And Jace is generally good into the Corki. So we take the Jace, and they enter with Malphite, which is generally very unplayable for Jace unless you're at a very, very high level, and I'm not. So instead of just eating solo kills for Malphite, we just roll swap. and it's really easy to play through Jace. And we had a lot of roams mid as well, so getting gold on Jace can be a lot more proactive in the early game and getting gold on Victor. So I think overall it was pretty good, and the fact that they didn't try to match Malphite mid ended up being really good for us.
Exactly. Yeah. You guys definitely showed the awareness of that, especially like you said in game 2 with that role swap. It was definitely really strong, and you were able to get some really nice trades up against the Corki. Like you mentioned, like it was a really it worked out really well for you guys throughout it. But game 2, I gotta be honest with you, game 2 was looking not good. Like it was looking really rough once Magic Mountains got that Baron. I mean, what is going through the team's mind? Like, how do you guys, respond to that final push? It ends up working out in your favor. Really beautiful death sentence coming in. I mean, talk me through those final moments, that last team fight, and being able to finish the job.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all in a pretty fine mental because we knew we had really, really good scaling. Our comp is generally harder to pull off, so it's really just on us hitting our buttons. We lost a few fights because either me or maybe Chapani or Loki didn't flash a Malphite or a Hecarim multi that we should have. So it's definitely very hard for us to pull it off perfectly. But we, I thought what I thought was a good angle and flashed on the Jhin that got chunked. And it ended up working pretty nicely. Captor on Xin Zhao was able to tank so much damage. The team follows up, and Afternoon hit a really nice hook to kind of seal the deal there. So it was pretty hypey. And I knew I was the strongest member in the game at that point. Like, even though my stat line doesn't look like it, I have so much gold from First Strike. And since I'm
Right.
lethality, my build is so cheap. And I'm like 3.5 items. So if we're able to get a fight where I don't get one shot, we kind of just win the game.
Do you
Oh,
do
yeah.
you remember the number really quick? Your first striking amount in that game?
It was pretty high. I think it was over 1,000 at that point.
Nice.
So
That's a
it
good
should
first
have
strike.
been like 1,000 gold gain there.
I was gonna say, speaking of going full lethality, having first strike, some of those team fights where you were hitting those guys on the back line, you were taking them down to half health before the fights even started. So yeah, I can certainly imagine that you were feeling really good about that in the late game. Tell me, because you mentioned not flashing some of the ults in the second game, a little out of position. That first game that you guys played, what was it that you think that you guys could have done differently to have turned that game into a W for yourselves? Because obviously, as we were watching, there were certain things that we thought you guys could do, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you guys think you went wrong that first game.
It's honestly hard for me to say because my main job is split pushing that game. I feel like there was a lot of situations where we're just getting caught needlessly. And that's causing me to not be able to pressure into a side lane. And then when we're just straight up grouping, we're kind of just weaker because we have to end early. I'm really the only champion that scales, but I think we were in a really good situation for like the entire game. Like your champion that scales, like I was massively ahead and no one can match me. And everyone else was in a good spot. So I don't really think we necessarily played bad. I think we just got caught way too many times and didn't play properly with vision. But it's definitely not easy considering we had to e-sub a support, and I think support's such a vital role in the meta currently.
Sure,
Exactly.
absolutely. And it's funny you say that because that was our assessment too. Is like you said, just a couple times, one person on the team or another was caught out, just stepped up a little too far, or didn't have vision in the right spot, got picked. And like you said, you weren't able to do your job in split push like you wanted to, and so it just kind of throws the whole thing out of whack there. But for a fair majority of that game, you guys were also in the driver's seat. So really good job across the series. Moose, is there anything else you want to ask before we let him go to his to celebrate the victory?
Oh, just wanna point out that your comment at the very beginning, Charles. I gotta maybe toss a little bit of shade.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Talking about how top lane is less of an impact if you fall behind than other lanes on the map. Regardless of your opinions on whether or not top lane is the most important lane or not, top lives do matter, and you definitely show us why. Number 2 Ginger, you're number 1 in my book, and thank you so much for stopping by. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate that, Moose. Thank you. Yeah, you stopped by Virtue Gaming's Twitch channel where you got to see Virtue Gaming Ambition go against Imagine Mountain in Runeterra Academy Senior Week 2. It was a 3-game series. Imagine Mountain took the first win, but Virtue Gaming was able to bring it back and win the series in a 2-1 victory. I'm Charles Elroy. With me was Moose. Thank you very much for tuning in, and a big thank you to Big Tank for producing the evening. Thanks, and we'll be back again another time.